Every day, millions of women look at the men in their lives, husbands, boyfriends, fathers, sons, and feel a familiar frustration. Why won't he just talk to me? You've lived it. You ask, what's wrong? He says, nothing. But you know something is off. You try to pull him closer, he pulls away. You share your feelings, hoping he'll share his. Instead, he offers a solution you didn't ask for. You wait for emotional depth, and he retreats into silence, a video game, or work. And in that space between your question and his nothing, a quiet war begins. You think he doesn't care. He thinks, I'm handling it. This book is about that gap. Not because men are simple, but because their emotional logic runs on a different operating system than most women assume. And for generations, that difference has been dismissed, mocked, or pathologized. Men are called emotionally stunted. Women are called nagging or over-emotional. And both sides walk away feeling unseen. But here's the secret most relationship advice ignores: men are not broken women. They don't process stress the same way. They don't use words to bond the same way. They don't experience love, respect, or intimacy through the same emotional grammar. And until women understand that, truly understand it, they will keep interpreting male behavior through a female lens, finding it wanting. This book is not about excusing coldness, avoidance, or neglect. Some men do need to grow. But this book is about the other 80%, the good, loving, loyal men who wake up every day feeling like they are failing because they can't give their partner the kind of emotional expression she was taught to expect. What do those men wish women knew? Times that silence is often repair, not rejection. Times that I'm fine usually means I don't yet have words for this storm. Times that physical intimacy is not a shallow need, it's often his deepest language of love. Times that respect fuels his romance. Times that when he withdraws, he is not punishing you, he is protecting you from his own chaos until he can solve it. And most of all, he wishes you knew that he wants to be understood, not fixed. The chapters ahead will pull back the curtain on 15 secret and salient male behaviors, things most men will never say out loud because they don't know how, or because they've learned that vulnerability gets weaponized. You'll learn why he shuts down during arguments, why your success can secretly intimidate him, why he remembers your praise for years and your criticism for longer. This is not a manual for changing men. It is a map for decoding them. By the end, you will still disagree with him sometimes. You will still get angry, but you will no longer stand in the dark, shouting across a language barrier you didn't even know existed. Because the truth is, he has been speaking all along. You just didn't know the dialect. Turn the page. It's time to learn it. The Mind of Men, What Men Wish Women Should Know. Written and published by the Zillion Pro. Chapter 1, The Island and the Bridge. Why he withdraws to recharge, and why it's not about you. You've seen it happen. One evening, he comes home from work. He's not angry. He's not cold. But he's gone. He sits on the couch staring at nothing. He picks up his phone but doesn't really look at it. You ask, how was your day? He says, fine. You ask, what's wrong? He says, nothing. But something is clearly wrong. Your mind starts racing. Did I do something? Is he losing interest? Is he angry at me? You try harder. You sit next to him. You ask softer questions. You offer to talk. And the more you offer, the further he drifts, until finally he gets up and goes to another room, or disappears into a hobby, or falls asleep early. You're left feeling rejected, confused, and hurt. He's left feeling suffocated, guilty, and still stressed. This is the island and the bridge, the most misunderstood dynamic between men and women. The island, a male sanctuary. Most men are raised, explicitly or implicitly, with a single message about stress: handle it yourself. From boyhood, he learned that crying was weakness, that complaining was unmasculine, that asking for help was failure. So he built an internal coping mechanism. When life gets heavy, he retreats to an island, alone, no noise, no demands, no one watching. On that island, he doesn't solve problems by talking. He solves problems by thinking, pacing, distracting himself, or doing something physical. He processes internally. He turns the problem over in his mind like a stone, looking for edges he can grip. He doesn't need input. He needs silence. To a woman, this looks like emotional shutdown. To a man, it's emotional maintenance. Why women misread the island. Women are typically socialized to process stress through connection. You talk to feel better. You share to lighten the load. So when a man withdraws, your brain interprets it through your own operating system. If I went silent like that, it would mean I'm angry or done with you. So that must be what he means. But he doesn't mean that. He means, I am overwhelmed, and I need to find my feet before I can be present with you. The bridge is longing for you. Here is the secret most women don't believe. Even when he's on the island, he still wants you. He just can't have you on the island with him. Think of it this way. When a man is stressed, his mental bandwidth shrinks. He can either deal with the external problem, work, money, family pressure, or he can deal with emotional intimacy. Trying to do both at once feels like drowning. So he temporarily drops one rope to hold the other. The rope he drops is not you, it's the expression of connection. He still loves you. He still wants you. He's just not capable of performing warmth, conversation, and emotional availability in that moment without feeling like he's going to crack. And here's what he wishes you knew: he will come back. The island is not a permanent residence. It's a decompression chamber. Give him 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes an evening, and he will walk back across the bridge on his own. He'll be warmer, more present, sometimes even grateful that you didn't force him to talk before he was ready. But when you follow him to the island, when you demand entry, demand words, demand emotional access now, two things happen. One, he feels invaded. And invasion triggers defense. He will pull away harder, not softer. Two, he feels guilty. Because deep down, he knows you're just trying to love him, and he can't give you what you're asking for. That guilt turns into shame, and shame makes him retreat even further. The collision. What happens when women chase? Imagine a man named Mark. He had a brutal day, his boss criticized him, a project fell through, and he's worried about money. He comes home. He's not ignoring his partner, Lisa. He's just quiet. He sits down, stares at the wall. Lisa sees quiet and thinks, rejection. She asks, are you okay? Mark says, yeah. Lisa thinks he's lying. She asks again, softer now, you know you can talk to me, right? Mark feels the pressure building. He knows she means well, but every question feels like a demand. He says, I just need a minute. Lisa hears, go away. She feels hurt. She tries one more time. Did I do something? Mark sighs, not at her, but at the weight of having to manage her feelings about his feelings when he's already exhausted. He says, no, nothing. Then he picks up his phone, not to ignore her, to escape the pressure. Lisa walks away feeling invisible. Mark stays on the couch feeling like a failure. Neither of them did anything wrong. They just spoke different languages. What men wish women understood about the island. 1. His withdrawal is not a punishment. He is not trying to make you feel alone. He is trying to keep himself from falling apart so he can be strong for you later. 2. He cannot talk and process at the same time the way you can. For many men, verbalizing a problem before they've solved it feels like broadcasting incompetence. He needs to understand his own feelings before he can share them. 3. Silence is not absence. Just because he isn't talking doesn't mean he isn't thinking about you, loving you, or wanting to be near you. He just needs quiet nearness, not conversational intensity. 4. The fastest way to get him back is to let him go. When you stop chasing, you stop triggering his defense mechanisms. Give him space without anger, and he will return faster than if you demanded he stay. 5. He wishes he could be different. Most men feel genuine guilt about their need for solitude. They know it hurts you. They don't know how to change it without losing their ability to function. Your patience feels like mercy. Building a better bridge, practical wisdom. So how do you handle the island without drowning yourself in loneliness? Step 1. Recognize the signs early. Is he quiet but not cold? Distracted but not dismissive? Physically present but mentally elsewhere? That's the island, not abandonment. Step 2. Offer once, then wait. Say this exactly: you seem heavy. I'm here if you want to talk. If you need some quiet first, take it. I'll be around. Then walk away, not angrily, just respectfully. Go read. Go make tea. Go do your own thing. Step 3. Time it. Give him 20 to 45 minutes. Most men will naturally re-engage within that window if they don't feel chased. If an hour passes and he's still withdrawn, a gentle touch on the shoulder or a cup of coffee placed next to him without a question attached works wonders. Step 4. When he returns, don't punish him. If he comes back and says something casual or makes a joke or just sits next to you again, don't say, "Oh, so now you want to talk." That guarantees the next island visit will be longer. Instead, simply receive him. Say, "Hey, glad you're back." That's it. That's the bridge. Step 5. Talk about it later, not during. On a calm day, not during a stressful moment, say, "I've noticed when you're really stressed, you need quiet time alone. I want to respect that. Can we agree on a code word or a signal so I know you're not mad at me, you just need your island?" He will feel seen, and he will love you for it. A final truth. Every man has an island. Every woman has a need for connection. These two truths are not enemies, they are opposites that can dance, if you learn the rhythm. He doesn't love you less because he needs silence. He loves you enough to walk away temporarily rather than snap at you, blame you, or drown you in his storm. The island is not a wall, it's a room with a door, and the door is not locked, it just has a sign that says, "Quiet, please." Processing. Knock softly, then wait. He will open it. Chapter 2. Respect over romance. Why many men experience respect as love and disrespect as betrayal. Imagine a man named David. He's been married to Elena for 8 years. He opens doors for her. He works overtime so she can pursue her art. He's faithful, present, and handy around the house. By most measures, he's a good husband. But lately, Elena has been frustrated. She feels emotionally distant from him. She reads relationship books. She asks him to open up more. She plans date nights. She buys him small gifts. She's trying to speak the language of romance, the language she would want spoken to her. And David appreciates it. He really does. But what he feels, what he craves, is something Elena rarely gives him. Respect. Not the shallow kind. Not standing ovations for taking out the trash. But the deep, quiet kind. The respect that says, "I see your effort. I trust your judgment. I don't roll my eyes at you in front of friends. I don't publicly correct your small mistakes. I don't treat your opinions as optional." Elena doesn't realize that every time she corrects his driving in front of the kids, every time she dismisses his suggestion with a sigh, every time she jokes about his man cold or his useless sense of direction, she's not just being playful. She's chipping away at the very thing he needs to feel loved. She thinks she's showing love through romance. He needs to feel love through respect. And he will never say this out loud, because admitting it feels weak. But he feels it every single day. The respect-romance swap. Here is one of the most profound differences between male and female emotional wiring. Most women feel loved when they are cherished, pursued, and emotionally held. Most men feel loved when they are respected, trusted, and admired. This is not absolute, individuals vary, but it is so consistent across cultures and generations that ignoring it is like ignoring that water is wet. When a woman says, "I don't feel loved," she often means, "You don't listen. You don't pursue me. You don't make me feel special." When a man says, "I don't feel loved," he often means, "You don't trust me. You don't admire me. You treat me like a child or a failure." But here's the real secret. Most men don't even know how to say that. They don't have the vocabulary. They just know they feel small, unseen, and vaguely angry, and they can't explain why. So they withdraw. They get short-tempered. They bury themselves in work. Or they start an argument about something stupid, the dishes, the schedule, a tone of voice, when the real wound is, "You disrespected me, and I don't know how to ask you to stop." The 3 faces of disrespect men feel but rarely name. Most women would never deliberately disrespect their partner, but disrespect often happens invisibly, in small, daily moments that men absorb like paper cuts. Here are the 3 most common. 1. Public correction or criticism. You're at a dinner party. He tells a slightly wrong fact. You correct him, gently, in front of everyone. You think you're being helpful. He hears, "You're incompetent, and everyone now knows I don't trust you." Solution: unless it's dangerous or humiliating, let small errors pass in public. Correct him privately if you must. Public loyalty matters more than public accuracy. 2. Dismissing his judgment. He suggests a route to the airport. You roll your eyes and say, "That's the long way." He suggests a solution to a household problem. You say, "That won't work." Over time, he stops offering solutions at all. Then you complain that he never takes initiative. He didn't stop because he's lazy. He stopped because every suggestion was met with dismissal, and dismissal feels like disrespect. Solution: before you reject his idea, say, "That's interesting, tell me more." Even if you still say no, you've honored him by hearing him. 3. Contempt in tone or body language. The sigh, the eye roll, the whatever, the way you look at him when he says something you think is stupid. These micro-expressions of contempt are poison. Psychologist John Gottman calls contempt the single strongest predictor of divorce. For men, contempt is not just painful, it's emasculating. Solution: catch yourself. If you wouldn't do it to a respected boss or a beloved grandparent, don't do it to him. Why respect feels like love: the evolutionary lens. Men are wired, biologically and socially, to need a sense of competence. For thousands of years, a man's value was tied to what he could do, provide, protect, build, solve. A man who wasn't respected by his tribe or his partner was a man who would be abandoned, challenged, or killed. That ancient wiring still hums beneath modern skin. When you respect a man, you are telling his nervous system, you are competent, you are safe, you have value. That feeling of being seen as capable and worthy produces the same warm, connected sensation in him that romantic words produce in you. When you disrespect him, even unintentionally, you are telling his nervous system, you are failing, you are not enough, you are in danger of being left. That feeling produces withdrawal, defensiveness, or anger, not because he's fragile, but because his deepest attachment need has been threatened. He doesn't need you to worship him. He needs you to believe in him. The respect test: how to know if you're starving him. Ask yourself these questions honestly. Times: when was the last time you publicly praised him in front of others? Times: do you thank him for the things he does regularly, working, fixing, providing, or only for special efforts? Times: do you trust him to make decisions without second-guessing him? Times: do you speak about him to your friends the way you would want him to speak about you? Times: when he makes a mistake, do you treat it as a learning moment or a character flaw? If most answers are negative, he is likely feeling disrespected even if he's never said a word. What he wishes you knew about respect. 1. Respect is not the opposite of love, it's the language of love. You can say "I love you" 100 times. If you roll your eyes once, he'll remember the eye roll. 2. He would rather be respected and unloved than loved and disrespected. This sounds extreme, but it's true. Many men have stayed in cold but respectful relationships longer than warm but disrespectful ones, because disrespect wounds something deeper than affection can heal. 3. Your admiration is his fuel. When you say, "I'm so proud of you," or "I trust your decision," or "I love watching you handle that," you are filling his tank. A man running on empty from lack of respect will eventually stop trying. 4. He notices when you choose him in public. Defend him to your family. Praise him to your friends. Laugh with him, not at him. That public choosing feels more romantic to him than any candlelit dinner. 5. Respect does not mean silence or submission. You can disagree strongly and still be respectful. "I see your point, but I feel differently" is respectful. "That stupid" is not. The difference is the difference between connection and slow erosion. The dangerous myth: respect must be earned. Some women read this and think, "Why should I respect him if he hasn't earned it? He leaves socks on the floor. He forgets anniversaries. He's not a CEO." Here's the hard truth: that mindset will destroy your relationship, because you're using the wrong metric. You're treating respect as a reward for performance. But in a healthy relationship, respect is the baseline, not the prize. You don't earn basic respect by being perfect. You give it because he's your partner. And when you give it freely, even when he's failing, you create the safety he needs to grow. Think of it this way: do you want him to love you only when you're thin, happy, and sexily available? Of course not. You want him to love you as a baseline, even on your bad days. Respect works the same way for him. When you respect him on his bad days, you prove that your respect is real, and he will move mountains to keep earning it. Practical wisdom: how to speak respect fluently. 1. Praise him publicly at least once a week. in front of friends, family, or even just your kids. Dad worked really hard on that. I'm lucky to have him. He's great at handling things like this. These 6-second sentences build months of security. 2. Ask his opinion and actually listen. Before making a decision about finances, parenting, or plans, say, "What do you think?" Then pause. Don't interrupt. Don't correct. Just listen. Even if you decide differently later, you've honored him. 3. Thank him for regular things. Thank you for going to work today. Thank you for fixing that light. Thank you for being patient with me. Men rarely hear thanks for the invisible labor they do. Your gratitude feels like respect. 4. Stop the playful insults. Many couples joke with "you're so dumb" or "men are useless." To him, that joke lands differently. It confirms every fear he has about being inadequate. Find other ways to tease. 5. Apologize when you disrespect him. If you rolled your eyes or corrected him harshly, say, "That was disrespectful. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that." That apology alone, specific, humble, rare, will mean more than 100 "I love yous." The final truth. Here's what men wish women understood most about respect: you hold the keys to his confidence. Not his boss. Not his friends. Not his father. You. When you respect him, he walks taller. He tries harder. He opens up more. He becomes the man you wanted him to be, not because you nagged, but because you believed. When you disrespect him, he shrinks. He protects himself. He stops sharing, stops trying, stops hoping. And then you look at him and wonder why he changed. He didn't change. You changed how you looked at him. Respect is not a reward for good behavior. It is the soil in which good behavior grows. Water the soil, and the plant takes care of itself. Chapter 3. The silence is not absence. What it really means when he goes quiet, and why it's not rejection, but repair. You know the scene. He comes home. He's not angry. He's not cold. But he's quiet. Dinner passes with one-word answers. You ask about his day. Fine. You share something about yours. Oh. You sit together on the couch, and he scrolls his phone in silence. You feel the weight of the quiet pressing against your chest. By 9 p.m., your mind has written an entire novel. He's upset with me. He's bored of me. He's thinking about leaving. I did something wrong, and he won't tell me what. So you try one more time. Are you sure nothing's wrong? He looks up, slightly irritated. I said I'm fine. You hear, "Leave me alone." He means, "I'm drowning, and I don't want you to see it." This is the silence that destroys relationships, not because silence is harmful, but because it is so consistently misinterpreted. 2 kinds of silence. Not all silence is the same. Understanding the difference changes everything. Silence type number 1, the cold silence, rejection. This silence is weaponized. It comes with crossed arms, turned backs, pointed ignoring. It is meant to punish. It says, "I am angry, and I want you to suffer." This silence is toxic, and no one should tolerate it as a regular pattern. Silence type number 2, the heavy silence, repair. This silence is involuntary. It comes from exhaustion, overwhelm, or deep thought. It is not aimed at you, it simply excludes you temporarily. It says, "I am struggling, and I don't have the words or energy to include you right now." This silence is not toxic. It is maintenance, and it is the silence most men live in after a hard day. The problem? Both silences look identical from the outside, and women, trained to read emotional cues, default to the worst interpretation: "He's punishing me." Most of the time, he's not. He's just repairing. Why men go silent, the internal mechanics. Let's walk through what actually happens inside a man's mind when life gets heavy. Step 1, overload. Something stressful happens. Work pressure, financial worry, a conflict with a friend, a sense of failure. The stress enters his system. Step 2, internal processing. Unlike many women, who process stress by talking it out, most men process by thinking it through, alone. He turns the problem over in his mind. He looks for angles, solutions, causes. This is not avoidance. This is his natural problem-solving loop, but it requires quiet, and it requires solitude. Step 3, the vocal halt. During this processing, his ability to talk about anything emotional shrinks dramatically. It's not that he won't talk. It's that he can't, not without breaking the loop. Asking him what's wrong feels to him like asking a mathematician to pause a complex equation to chat about the weather. The request itself feels disruptive. Step 4. The guilt spiral. Here's where it gets painful. He knows he's being quiet. He knows you notice. He knows you're probably hurt. But he cannot both solve his problem and manage your feelings about his quiet. So he stays quiet, and now feels guilty on top of stressed. That guilt often comes out as irritation, not because he's mad at you, because he's mad at himself for being unable to be what you need. Step 5. Emergence. If left alone, he will eventually solve the problem or at least put it in a box. His nervous system will settle, and he will come back warmer, lighter, sometimes even cheerful, as if nothing happened. And he will be confused why you're still upset, because in his mind, the silence was never about you. What the silence is not. Let's clear up the most dangerous misconceptions women have about male silence. The silence is not rejection. He is not pulling away from you. He is pulling into himself. Those are different things. Rejection says, I don't want you. Repair says, I need a moment to be able to want you well. The silence is not about you. This is the hardest one to believe. But most of the time, truly, his quiet has nothing to do with anything you did or didn't do. It is about work, money, purpose, aging, failure, or 1,000 other pressures you may never even know about. The silence is not a lack of love. Love and verbal expression are not the same thing. He can love you deeply and still need an hour of quiet. In fact, his willingness to be quiet around you rather than disappearing entirely is a sign of trust. He feels safe enough not to perform. The silence is not a problem to fix. When you treat his silence as an emergency, you create a second problem on top of his first one. Now he has to deal with his stress and your anxiety. That's not helping. That's adding weight. What the silence actually is. Here is what men wish women understood about their quiet. The silence is a pressure valve. Life builds pressure. Work, expectations, responsibilities. Silence releases that pressure slowly, safely. Without it, he would eventually explode or collapse. The silence is a thinking room. He is not staring at nothing. He is working on something, a problem, a decision, a worry. His mind is active. His mouth is just offline. The silence is a reset button. After a hard day, he needs to reboot. Talk, emotion, and demands feel like programs running in the background, draining his battery. Silence closes those programs. Then he can reboot fresh. The silence is an act of protection. Here's the secret few men admit. Sometimes he goes quiet because if he opened his mouth, he would say something cruel, panicked, or weak. He is protecting you from his worst self. The silence is not a wall. It is a shield. The collision when her need for connection meets his need for quiet. She needs to talk to feel close. He needs quiet to feel sane. Neither is wrong, but when these needs collide without understanding, relationships fracture. The chasing dynamic, she feels distant, she talks to close the gap, he feels pressure, he withdraws further, she feels more distance and talks more, he withdraws more. This cycle ends with her exhausted and him resentful, and both saying, you don't understand me. How to break the cycle? She stops interpreting silence as rejection. He learns to say, I'm not angry, I just need quiet for a bit. That's it. That small translation saves marriages. What he wishes you knew about his silence, direct quotes from real men. When I go quiet, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just full. My brain is full. I can't take in one more word. The worst thing you can do is ask me what's wrong every 5 minutes. Then I'm stressed about work and stressed about making you feel better. I just want to breathe. I wish you knew that I'll come to you when I'm ready. You don't have to pull it out of me. Your patience is the most attractive thing you can offer. Sometimes I'm quiet because I'm afraid if I start talking, I'll cry, and I haven't cried since I was 12. I don't even know if I can anymore, so I just say nothing. When you sit next to me in silence without asking questions, that's when I feel closest to you. You're on my team without needing a report. Practical wisdom: how to love a silent man without losing yourself. 1. Learn his silent signature. Does he need 20 minutes? An hour? An evening? Learn his rhythm. Once you know it's temporary, it stops feeling threatening. 2. Offer once, then retreat. Say, "You seem quiet. I'm here if you want me. I'll be in the other room if you need space." Then go. No guilt. No sighing. Just go. 3. Have a code. On a good day, agree on a simple phrase he can say when he needs quiet without hurting you. "I love you, but I'm in my head right now. I need my cave for an hour." A code word removes the mystery. 4. Fill your own cup. His quiet time is not your waiting time. It's your you time. Read. Call a friend. Take a bath. When you have your own life, his silence stops feeling like a void you have to fill. 5. Don't punish the return. When he emerges and says something casual, "What's for dinner?" or "Did you see the game?" don't say, "Oh, so now you talk." That guarantees the next silent period will be longer. Instead, receive him warmly. "Hey, glad you're back." 6. Talk about silence when there is no silence. On a calm, connected day, say, "I know you sometimes need quiet after work. It helps me if you just say I'm okay, just tired, so I know it's not about me. Could we try that?" He will try, because you asked kindly. The one thing you must never do: do not fill his silence with accusations. Do not say, "You're ignoring me. You don't care. You're just like your father." "Fine, I'll just leave you alone then." Said with a slam. These words land like bombs. They turn his innocent need for quiet into a crime, and they create a wound that takes days to heal, far longer than the silence ever would have lasted. His silence is not a crime. It is a language. Learn it, or keep fighting it. Those are the only 2 options. A final truth. Imagine you're carrying a heavy box up a flight of stairs. Your arms are burning. Your breathing is hard. Someone stands at the bottom and yells, "Why aren't you talking to me? Are you angry? What did I do?" You would scream, "I'm carrying something heavy." That's his silence. He's carrying something heavy, and your questions, however loving, add weight. Now imagine instead that you simply walk beside him, quietly, not carrying the box. He doesn't want you to carry it. Just walking, not talking, just being there. When he reaches the top, he will set the box down. He will turn to you, and he will say, sometimes without words, "Thank you for not making that harder." That is the gift of understanding his silence. It is not absence. It is the quiet presence of a man who is fighting his battles so he can come back to you whole. Trust the silence. It is not the enemy of love. Sometimes it is love's guardian. Chapter 4: Performance Pressure in Every Role. The hidden weight of feeling like he must never fail. Meet James. He's 34, married, 2 kids, a mid-level manager at a software company. By most measures, he's doing fine. But James wakes up at 3 a.m. most nights. Not because of coffee, because of a voice in his head that sounds like this: "Did I send that email? Am I going to get laid off? Is the mortgage too high? Does my wife still desire me? Am I a good enough father? Why did that guy at work get promoted instead of me? My back hurts. I should exercise more. I'm too tired to exercise. What if something happens to the kids? What if something happens to me? Who would take care of everyone?" He doesn't tell his wife any of this. Not because he doesn't trust her, because he's been taught his whole life that a man's job is to handle pressure silently, to perform, to provide, to protect, to never let anyone see the cracks. And so James smiles through dinner. He plays with the kids. He makes love to his wife. He goes to work. And every night, at 3 a.m., the weight settles back onto his chest. This is performance pressure, and it is slowly killing men and the relationships they are desperate to hold together. The many hats, the single man. A modern man is expected to excel in multiple, often contradictory roles, simultaneously and without complaint. The provider, he must earn enough. Not just enough to survive, but enough for security, comfort, vacations, college funds, retirement. If he falls short, he feels like a failure, even if his wife also works. The protector, he must keep his family safe from physical, emotional, and financial harm. Every news story about crime, disaster, or economic downturn lands on his shoulders as a potential threat he failed to prevent. The lover, he must initiate desire, perform sexily, stay faithful, be adventurous enough but not too adventurous, and never let his own stress or fatigue show in the bedroom. The father, he must be present, gentle, engaged, but also authoritative enough to discipline. Not absent like his own father, not harsh like his own father, perfectly balanced. The emotional partner, he must listen, validate, and support his partner's emotional needs, without burdening her with his own struggles, which might make him seem weak or unstable. The handyman, he must fix what breaks: the sink, the car, the internet, the child's toy, the mood, everything. The fun companion, he must be spontaneous, romantic, and enjoyable to be around, never too tired, never too distracted, never too stressed to make her feel special. Here's the impossible math: no human can excel at all of these roles at once. But most men believe they are supposed to try, and they believe that failing at any one of them makes them less of a man. The silent math: how men keep score. Women often misunderstand why men seem so focused on work, money, or status. It looks like ego or materialism, but inside, it's often survival. Here's what men are silently calculating: income. Am I earning what I should at my age? What if she realizes she could do better with someone richer? What if the kids resent me for not providing more? Competence. Do people at work trust me? Does my wife trust my decisions? Would she let me lead, or does she secretly think I'm incompetent? Desirability. Does she still want me? Not just love me, want me, desire me, choose me, or am I just the safe, reliable option she settled for? Comparison. How do I stack up against her friends' husbands, her ex, the guy she follows on social media, the fictional men on TV shows she watches? Future failure. Something bad is coming. It always does. Am I ready? Do I have enough savings, enough skills, enough strength? Men don't share these calculations because sharing them feels like admitting inadequacy, and admitting inadequacy feels like losing the very performance they are trying to maintain. So they suffer alone, and their partners wonder why they seem distant, irritable, or exhausted. The performance mask: what he shows versus what he feels. What he shows: confidence, I've got it under control. What he feels: constant low-grade panic that he's one mistake away from disaster. What he shows: calm, everything's fine. What he feels: a churning stomach, tight chest, and racing thoughts he's learned to hide since childhood. What he shows: irritation about small things, the dishes, the noise, the schedule. What he feels: overwhelm so complete that one more demand, any demand, might break him. What he shows: disinterest in conversation. What he feels: exhaustion from performing fine all day, leaving nothing left for emotional intimacy. What he shows: defensiveness when criticized. What he feels: shame, because the criticism confirms what he already fears: he's not enough. The mask is not deception, it's armor. He wears it because he believes vulnerability is dangerous, not because someone told him so, but because life taught him. Every time he showed weakness as a boy, someone used it against him. Every time a man admits he's struggling, the world says, figure it out. So he figures it out, alone, quietly, until he can't. How performance pressure destroys relationships. The tragedy is that the very things a man does to manage his pressure, withdrawing, avoiding emotion, focusing on work, are the things that make his partner feel abandoned. And her response, criticism, pursuit, emotional demands, adds more pressure to his already overflowing load. The cycle: 1. He feels overwhelmed by performance pressure. 2. He withdraws to cope. 3. She feels rejected and asks, what's wrong? 4. He hears, you're failing at being a partner too. 5. He withdraws further. 6. She escalates, you don't care anymore. 7. He thinks, she's right, I can't do anything right. 8. He shuts down completely. Neither is the villain. Both are victims of a system that demands men perform without rest and women connect without understanding why connection sometimes feels impossible. What he wishes you knew about his pressure. 1. His focus on work is not abandonment. When he works late or seems preoccupied with his career, he's not choosing his job over you. He's trying to be a good provider. In his mind, providing is loving. He just can't always do both visibly. 2. He's terrified of being a burden. He doesn't share his stress because he doesn't want to add to yours. He sees you managing your own life, your own work, your own emotions, and he thinks, she doesn't need my problems too. His silence is not distrust, It's protection. 3. He needs you to see his effort, not just his failures. You notice when he forgets the anniversary. You notice when he's grumpy. Do you notice when he gets up at 5 a.m. for work? When he plays with the kids even though he's exhausted? When he fixes something without being asked? That effort is love. See it. Say it. For criticism lands like an indictment. When you say, "You never help around the house," he hears, "You are a useless husband." When you say, "Why didn't you handle that?" he hears, "I don't trust you to handle anything." Be specific and kind, or he will hear only the judgment. 5. He wishes he could be vulnerable. Most men desperately want to be known, truly known, but they've been burned. If you want him to open up, you must prove that his vulnerability is safe. No using his fears against him later. No sharing his secrets with your friends. No losing respect for him because he cried. That safety takes years to build and seconds to destroy. The physical toll, why he's exhausted even when he didn't do anything. Performance pressure isn't just psychological. It's physiological. The constant state of low-grade alert, am I enough? Am I safe? Is everyone okay? Keeps his nervous system in a mild fight-or-flight state for years at a time. This is why he falls asleep on the couch. Why he has no energy for conversation at the end of the day. Why his libido drops during stressful periods. Why he gets irritable over small things. He's not lazy. He's not withholding. He's running a marathon inside his own head every single day, and the finish line keeps moving. When you understand this, his laziness starts to look different. His silence starts to sound different. His emotional distance starts to feel less like rejection and more like exhaustion. Practical wisdom: how to lighten his load without carrying it. You cannot fix his pressure. You cannot make his job easier or erase his childhood conditioning, but you can stop adding weight. Here's how. 1. Stop competing with his work. Don't say, "You care more about your job than me. His work is how he provides." Instead say, "I see how hard you work. I appreciate it, and I miss you. Can we carve out 30 minutes just for us?" 2. Give him specific, authentic praise. "You're so great" is fine. "I noticed you handled that stressful call with the bank so calmly. I was really impressed" is gold. Specific praise tells him you see him, not just his role. 3. Ask different questions. Instead of "What's wrong?" which implies something is wrong, try "How heavy is your load today?" or on a scale of 1 to 10, "How much pressure are you feeling?" These questions invite sharing without demanding confession. 4. Create no performance zones. Designate times when he doesn't have to perform any role. No provider, no fixer, no lover, just a human being. Saturday morning with coffee and no agenda. A walk where nothing is required. These zones are where he heals. 5. Say thank you for invisible labor. Thank him for going to work, for changing the oil, for handling the garbage, for being patient, for staying. Men receive so few expressions of gratitude that each one lands like a gift. 6. Ask him what would help and mean it. "What's one thing I could take off your plate this week?" Then do it. No negotiation, no commentary, just relief. 7. Believe him when he says he's tired. Don't interpret fatigue as rejection. Believe him. Say, "Then rest. I've got this." Those 6 words are more romantic than any love letter. The one thing he needs most. Here is what men rarely say but desperately need. He needs you to believe in him even when he doesn't believe in himself. Not fix him, not manage him, not mother him. Believe in him. When he fails, and he will fail, because every human fails, he needs you to say, "You'll figure it out. I trust you." Not "I told you so." Not "We need to talk about this." Not silence and coldness. Just "I trust you." That belief is not naive. It is not denial of his mistakes. It is a declaration that his worth is not tied to his performance. And that is the only thing that can begin to loosen the grip of performance pressure. Because the deepest fear under all the pressure is this: if I fail, she will leave. If I stop performing, I will be alone. When you prove that fear wrong, when you stay, believe, and love him through failure, you give him something no salary, no promotion, no amount of status can provide. You give him freedom. And a free man, he performs better at everything. Not from pressure, from peace. A final truth. The man in your life is carrying more than you see, not because he's hiding it from you intentionally, but because he's hidden it from himself. The pressure has become background noise, white static, so normal he doesn't even notice it anymore, until 3 a.m. You cannot carry his load for him, but you can stop adding to it. You can see his effort. You can speak his worth. You can create spaces where he can set the load down just for a moment and breathe. And in those moments, he will remember why he's carrying it in the first place. You, not the pressure. You. Chapter 5, Why I'm Fine Usually Isn't a Lie. How men redefine fine and why pushing for emotional expression can feel like criticism. You ask him, "How are you?" He says, "I'm fine." You don't believe him. You know something is off. His shoulders are tight. His jaw is set. He's been quiet for 2 days. Fine? That's not fine. That's the opposite of fine. So you push. "No, really. What's wrong?" He says, "Nothing. I said I'm fine." Now you're frustrated. Why won't he just be honest? Why does he lie about something so obvious? If he would just open up, you could help. You could understand. You could fix whatever this is. But here's what you don't know: is not lying. To you, fine means everything is good. I'm happy. No problems at all. To him, fine means something completely different. And until you understand his definition, you will keep accusing him of dishonesty when he's actually telling you the truth, just not in your language. The male definition of fine, let's translate. When a woman says "I'm fine," she often means, and sometimes doesn't mean, "I'm okay, nothing is wrong, please don't push." When a man says "I'm fine," he usually means, "I am not currently in crisis. I am not bleeding. The house is not on fire. I have the situation under control. I don't need rescue. Please don't make me talk about it because that will make it worse, not better." His fine is not an assessment of his emotional state. It is an assessment of his ability to cope. And as long as he believes he can cope, even if he's exhausted, worried, or hurting, he will say he's fine. Because in his operating system, fine means, "I'm still standing. I've got this. No outside intervention required." This is not deception. This is a different dictionary. The 3 hidden meanings behind "I'm fine." When a man says "I'm fine," he is often communicating one of 3 things, none of which are "everything is wonderful." Meaning number 1, I'm handling it. He is stressed, maybe very stressed, but he believes that talking about it will not help and might actually make him feel more overwhelmed. His internal rule is, "If I can solve it alone, I should." So "I'm fine" means I am in the process of solving it. Step back. Meaning number 2, I don't have the words yet. Many men experience emotions as physical sensations, tightness, exhaustion, agitation, before they can name them. Fine is a placeholder. It means I know something is off, but I can't articulate what, and being asked to articulate it before I'm ready feels like being put on the spot. Meaning number 3, I'm protecting you. This is the most common and least understood meaning. He knows you worry. He knows you carry your own stress, and he doesn't want to add his problems to your load. So he says "fine" to shield you. In his mind, this is not dishonesty, this is love. He is taking the hit so you don't have to. When you push past "I'm fine," you are not asking him to share. You are asking him to stop protecting you. And that feels like a betrayal of his role. Why pushing feels like criticism? Imagine you're lifting something heavy. Someone watches you struggle and says, "You're not fine. Put that down. Let me help." If you're a man raised to carry his own weight, that offer doesn't feel like help. It feels like judgment. It says, "You look weak. You can't handle this. I don't trust you." That's what "I'm fine" is protecting. Not the problem, his pride. Not ego in the shallow sense, but the deep, necessary pride that says, "I am competent. I can manage my own life." When you push past "fine," you are inadvertently saying, "I don't believe you. I don't trust your assessment of your own state. I know better than you do what you need." Even if you mean well, even if you're right that he's struggling, the message he receives is criticism. And criticism triggers withdrawal, not opening. The vicious cycle of "I'm fine." Here's how this innocent exchange becomes a relationship-wrecking ball. Step 1 is genuinely struggling but coping. He says "I'm fine," meaning, "I'm handling it." Step 2, she doesn't believe him. She pushes. You're not fine. I can tell. Step 3, he feels disbelieved and pressured. He repeats, I'm fine, now meaning please stop. Step 4, she feels shut out. She pushes harder. Why won't you talk to me? I'm just trying to help. Step 5, he now feels criticized and guilty. He says nothing, or worse, just leave it alone, now meaning, you're making this worse. Step 6, she walks away hurt, convinced he's emotionally unavailable. He walks away frustrated, convinced she doesn't trust him. Step 7, next time he's struggling, he'll say I'm fine even faster because last time he was honest about not being fine, it turned into a fight. The cycle reinforces itself. His silence grows, her frustration grows, and the gap between them widens, all because they were speaking different dialects of fine. What I'm fine is not. Let's be clear about what I'm fine does not mean. It is not a lie. He is not trying to deceive you. He is using his definition, not yours. It is not rejection. He is not saying I don't want to talk to you. He is saying I don't want to talk right now. It is not a wall. It is a door with a do not disturb sign. The door is not locked, but knocking every 30 seconds will not make it open faster. It is not a sign of a bad relationship. Even the healthiest men say I'm fine when they are not fine. It's cultural conditioning, not a relationship defect. What he wishes you knew about I'm fine 1. Fine is my baseline. I am not a person who lives in dramatic emotional highs and lows. Fine covers 80% of my emotional range. When I say I'm fine, I'm probably telling the truth by my standards. 2. If I were in real trouble, I would tell you. Men do open up when the problem is too big to handle alone. If I'm saying fine, it means I still believe I can handle it. Trust that I know my own limits. 3. Pushing makes me less likely to talk, not more. Every time you push and I don't open up, I feel like I failed. That feeling makes me want to talk even less next time. Your patience is literally the only thing that makes me feel safe enough to share. 4. I wish I could explain what's wrong, but sometimes I don't know. Men aren't trained to identify and name emotions the way women are. When I'm off, I might not know why. Asking what's wrong feels like asking someone who doesn't speak French to conjugate a verb. I don't have the vocabulary yet. 5. The way to get me to talk is not to ask me to talk. It's to sit with me, to watch a movie next to me, to exist quietly in my presence. When I feel safe and not pressured, the words sometimes come on their own, but they can't be summoned. The exception, when I'm fine, is actually a problem. Not every I'm fine is healthy. Some men use fine as a permanent shield against any emotional intimacy. That's different. Warning signs that fine has become toxic. Times he never shares anything vulnerable, even in calm moments. Times he says fine and then punishes you with coldness 4 days. Times he uses fine to end conversations permanently, not temporarily. Times major life events, death, job loss, illness, don't change his fine. Times you feel completely alone in the relationship, not just occasionally distant. If these are true, fine is not a coping mechanism. It's a fortress, and that may require professional help or a serious conversation about emotional availability. But for most men in most relationships, fine is not pathology. It's just male. Practical wisdom, how to respond to I'm fine. You don't have to accept every I'm fine at face value, but you can respond in ways that invite honesty without demanding it. What not to do. Times no, you're not. Starts an argument. Times you always say that. Criticism. Times fine, don't talk to me then. Punishment. Times I can tell something's wrong. Pushing. Times silence and a sigh. Guilt trip. What to try instead. Option 1, believe him provisionally. Say, okay, I trust you. If that changes, I'm here. Then let it go. This builds safety. Option 2, reframe your question. Instead of what's wrong, try how heavy is things right now, or on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your load? These questions don't demand a diagnosis, just a rating. Men can answer these. Option 3, offer presence, not interrogation. Say, I'm going to make tea. Want some, or I'll be in the living room if you want company. No question mark, just an open door. Option 4, name what you see without demanding explanation. Say, you seem quieter than usual. That's okay. Just want you to know I notice you. This validates without pressuring. Option 5. Use the delayed check-in. Later, hours later, or the next day, say, remember yesterday when you said you were fine? I just wanted to check in gently. Still fine? Sometimes the space creates the safety he needed. The magic phrase that changes everything. There is one sentence that, when spoken calmly and genuinely, almost always lowers a man's defenses more than any other. Say this: I trust you to know your own state. I'm not going to push, but I want you to know I'm safe for the hard stuff when you're ready. That sentence does 3 things. 1. It respects his autonomy. I trust you. 2. It removes pressure. I'm not going to push. 3. It offers safety without demand. I'm safe for the hard stuff. Most men have never heard this. Most men have only ever heard pressure, criticism, or silence. When you offer trust and safety without strings, something shifts. He may not open up that day, but he will remember, and next time, he might, just might, say something other than fine. A final truth. Here is what men wish women understood most about I'm fine. When I say I'm fine, I am not keeping you out. I am keeping myself together. The door is not locked, it's just heavy. Don't kick it down. Just lean against it quietly. Eventually, I will let you in. Your patience is not passivity. It is the most powerful invitation you can offer. Because here's the secret: he doesn't actually want to be alone with his burdens. He wants to share them. He just needs to share them on his own terms, in his own time, without feeling like a project or a problem. Trust his fine today, and he may trust you with the truth tomorrow. Chapter 6: Physical Intimacy as Emotional Language. Why sex is often his deepest form of saying I need you. She wants to talk. He wants to touch. She thinks he only wants my body. He thinks she doesn't want all of me. This misunderstanding has destroyed more relationships than infidelity, money problems, or in-laws combined. Because at the heart of it lies a fundamental translation error. Women often see physical intimacy as one expression of love among many, while men often experience physical intimacy as the primary language through which they both give and receive love. Not the only language, but the most fluent one. When a woman pulls away from physical intimacy because she doesn't feel emotionally connected, she is speaking her truth. But when a man experiences that withdrawal, he doesn't just feel sexually frustrated. He feels rejected at the core of his being, because for him, the physical is emotional. To refuse his body is to refuse his heart. Neither is wrong. They are just speaking different languages. And until they learn to translate, they will keep wounding each other without meaning to. The male wiring: why physical and emotional are fused. Let's be clear about something most women don't believe. For the vast majority of men, sex is not primarily about orgasm. Yes, orgasm feels good. Yes, men enjoy the physical sensation. But reduce male sexuality to that, and you miss everything that matters. For most men in loving relationships, physical intimacy serves multiple emotional functions that have nothing to do with release, connection. Sex is when he feels closest to you. The walls come down. The performance mask drops. He is not the provider, the fixer, the protector. He is just a man, skin to skin with a woman who chose him. That vulnerability is rare and precious. Reassurance: sex tells him he is still desired, still chosen, still enough. In a world where he is constantly evaluated by his performance, work, income, status, physical intimacy is one of the few places where he is accepted for just being him. When you want him physically, you are saying, you are worthy, not what you do. You. Stress release: male bodies store stress in muscles and nervous systems. Physical intimacy, not just intercourse, but touch, skin contact, orgasm, releases that tension in ways talking never can. When he initiates after a hard day, he is not being selfish. He is trying to regulate his nervous system so he can function again. Emotional expression: many men never learn it to say, I miss you, or I'm scared, or I need you. But they can show it. A hand on your hip, pulling you close in the dark, reaching for you after an argument. That touch is not a prelude. It is the sentence he doesn't have words for. When women see these behaviors and think he just wants sex, they are reading the surface and missing the ocean beneath. What physical intimacy is not, for most men. Let's clear up some common misconceptions. It is not just about his pleasure. Most good men are deeply invested in their partner's pleasure. His ego and his sense of being a good lover is tied to your response. When you treat sex as a chore or a gift you give him, he doesn't feel lucky. He feels like a beggar. It is not a replacement for emotional connection. It is an expression of emotional connection. He doesn't want sex instead of talking. He wants sex as a form of talking, often because talking feels harder and less direct. It is not shallow. To call a man's need for physical intimacy shallow is like calling a woman's need for verbal affirmation shallow. Both are deep attachment needs. They just wear different clothes. It is not transactional. If you want sex, then you need to talk to me first feels to him like a toll booth on the road to love. It turns intimacy into a negotiation. And nothing kills desire faster than a negotiation. The cycle of withdrawal, how mismatched needs spiral. Here is the painful cycle that plays out in bedrooms everywhere. Her perspective, she needs emotional closeness to want physical intimacy. If she feels distant because he's been quiet, working too much, or hasn't opened up, she doesn't feel sexual. She pulls back from physical touch. She thinks, when we reconnect emotionally, I'll feel desire again. His perspective, he needs physical intimacy to feel emotional closeness. When she pulls back from touch, he feels rejected, unloved, and confused. He doesn't feel safe opening up emotionally because the physical door has closed. He thinks, when she wants me physically again, I'll know she loves me, and then I can be vulnerable. The spiral, she waits for emotional intimacy that requires physical safety. He waits for physical intimacy that requires emotional safety. Both wait. Both feel rejected. Both blame the other. Neither is wrong. They are just locked in a deadlock where each person's need is the other person's prerequisite. And the only way out is for someone to break the pattern, not because they are giving in, but because they understand the translation. What he wishes you knew about his physical need. 1. When I reach for you, I'm saying I love you in the only language that feels fully true to me. Words can lie. Touch doesn't. When I pull you close, believe that touch more than any sentence I've ever spoken. 2. Rejecting my physical advance feels like rejecting me, not just my body. When you say not tonight for the 10th time, I don't think, oh, she's just tired. I think, she doesn't want me. Something is wrong with me. I'm not desirable anymore. That wound doesn't heal quickly. 3. I want you to want me, not just say yes. Duty sex, silent, passive, waiting for it to end sex, is worse than no sex. It tells me you're not really here. I would rather be rejected honestly than accepted with resignation. 4. Physical intimacy doesn't have to be intercourse. I crave touch. A hand on my chest. A long hug. A back scratch while we watch TV. These small touches tell me I'm not invisible. They often lead to more, but they are also valuable on their own. 5. I can't always separate physical desire from emotional need. When I initiate, I'm not always sure what I'm asking for. Comfort, connection, reassurance, or just an orgasm to quiet my brain? Sometimes all of them at once. Don't ask me to sort it out before you'll touch me. 6. When you initiate, I feel like the richest man alive. Most men are almost never pursued. When you touch me first, kiss me first, pull me toward the bedroom first, you give me a gift I cannot describe. I feel chosen. And a chosen man is a devoted man. The female fear, what if he only wants my body? This fear is real and valid. Many women have been used for sex. Many have experienced men who lose interest after physical intimacy. That history is not imaginary. But here's what men wish women understood about that fear. For a good man, wanting your body and wanting you are not separate things. Your body is not a vehicle for his pleasure. Your body is you. When he desires your body, he desires your laugh, your mind, your presence, your smell, your voice, all of it wrapped in skin. The men who only want your body leave after sex. They don't stay for breakfast. They don't hold you afterward. They don't call the next day. They don't fix the sink or sit through your family dinners or drive you to appointments. If your man does those things, his desire is not shallow. It is deep. It is whole. And treating it as shallow wounds him in ways he may never fully explain. The truth about pressure. Many women say they feel pressured for sex. And some men do pressure, aggressively, manipulatively, selfishly. That behavior is wrong and should not be excused. But sometimes pressure is actually longing that has nowhere else to go. When a man desires you and you consistently decline, he faces an impossible choice: stop desiring you, which he can't control, or keep hoping, which feels like pressure to you. He cannot win, so he withdraws. Not in anger, in self-protection. Then you wonder why he stopped trying, why he doesn't flirt anymore, why he seems distant. He stopped because every attempt felt like a rejection. Not because he stopped wanting you, because wanting you hurt too much. This is not manipulation. This is grief. Practical wisdom, bridging the physical-emotional gap. You don't have to have sex every time he wants it, but you can bridge the gap without betraying yourself. 1. Separate rejection from redirection. Instead of "not tonight," rejection, try "not right now, but can we cuddle for 10 minutes? And let's plan for Saturday morning." Redirection honors his desire while honoring your boundaries. 2. Initiate sometimes, even once a month, even awkwardly, even with a simple "come here." Your initiation tells him everything he needs to know. You are wanted, not tolerated. Wanted. 3. Learn his non-sexual touch language. Some men need back scratches. Some need to be the little spoon. Some need a hand on their leg while driving. Learn his. Offer it without being asked. This fills his physical tank without requiring intercourse. 4. Talk about sex when you're not having it. On a calm afternoon, say, "I know physical intimacy is really important to you. I want to understand it better. What does it feel like for you when we're close?" He may not have words at first, but the question alone is a gift. 5. Address the barriers directly. If you're too tired, too stressed, or too resentful for sex, say that without blame. "I'm not rejecting you. I'm exhausted from work. Can we try tomorrow morning?" Honest barriers are fixable. Silent rejection is not. 6. Schedule sex. It sounds unromantic. It's actually the opposite. Scheduling says, "You matter enough to put on the calendar." It also removes the pressure of initiation and rejection. You both know Wednesday is for connection. No games. 7. Heal your own story. If you carry wounds from past sexual experiences, shame, assault, betrayal, your responses to him may not be about him at all. Get help, not for his sake, for yours. But know that healing will also heal your relationship. The great unspoken truth. Here is what men wish they could say but rarely do: sex is where I feel safe enough to be soft. The world demands I be hard, competent, unshakable, strong. But in your arms, I can let that go. I can be needy. I can be tender. I can be scared. I can cry. And then I can hold you and feel like everything is okay. When you turn away from me physically, you're not just turning away from my body. You're turning away from the only place I know how to be fully human. I don't know how to say that with words. So I reach for you instead. And when you reach back, I feel seen in a way words could never achieve. That is what physical intimacy means to a man. Not recreation, not release, sanctuary. A final truth. Imagine you spoke a language no one else understood. Every time you tried to say "I love you," people heard something else. Every time you reached out, people pulled away. Eventually, you would stop reaching. Not because you stopped loving, but because the pain of being misunderstood became greater than the hope of being known. For many men, physical intimacy is that language. They have been told their need is shallow, their desire is pressure, their touch is demand. And so they stop reaching. They stop hoping. They become the distant, low libido partners women then complain about. But the desire never dies. It just goes silent, buried under years of "not tonight," of duty sex, of being told they are broken for wanting what they want. Here is the truth: his desire for you is not a problem to manage. It is a gift to understand. Not a gift you owe him, but a gift he offers. His body reaching for yours is his heart reaching for connection. When you receive that gift, when you see his touch as the love letter it is, something shifts. He feels known. And a known man is a man who will move mountains to know you back. Not because you gave him sex, because you finally understood what he was saying all along. Chapter 7: Fixers versus Feelers. When women vent, men offer solutions, not because he's dismissing her, but because problem solving is his love language. She comes home from work. Her face is tight. She drops her bag. She sighs, that sigh. The one that says, the world has been heavy today. He looks up from whatever he's doing. He can see she's upset. His internal systems activate. Problem detected. Assess. Solve. Restore peace. She starts talking. My boss completely undermined me in the meeting today. And then Sarah took credit for my idea. And I'm so behind on the quarterly report. And I just feel like no one listens to me. He listens. He hears obstacles, injustice, inefficiency. These are solvable problems. He says, you should talk to your boss. Schedule a one-on-one. Present your evidence calmly, and start documenting your ideas in writing so Sarah can't steal them. She stops. Her face falls. She says, I don't need you to fix it. I just needed you to listen. He feels slapped. He was trying to help. He was listening. He heard everything she said, and then he did the only thing he knows how to do with the problem, solve it. Now she's upset at him. He doesn't understand why. He thought he was being a good partner. She thinks he dismissed her feelings. This is the fixer versus feeler collision. It happens millions of times a day, and it is almost entirely preventable once both sides understand what's actually happening. The male operating system, problem in, solution out. Men are not born this way. They are trained. From boyhood, the message is consistent and loud: don't complain, don't dwell, fix it, move on. When a boy falls and cries, he's told, shake it off. When he's upset about a friend's betrayal, he's told, find better friends. When he struggles with a task, he's told, figure it out. By the time he reaches adulthood, his brain has been optimized for one mode of operation: identify the problem, locate the solution, execute. This is not coldness. This is efficiency. And in most areas of his life, work, sports, DIY projects, finances, this approach works brilliantly. Problems get solved. Life moves forward. But relationships are not spreadsheets. And a partner's emotional venting is not a work email requesting action items. The tragedy is that when a woman vents, she is usually seeking connection, not correction. She wants to be heard, held, and validated, not managed. But his brain hears a problem and reflexively reaches for a solution. Not because he doesn't care, because caring means solving. What venting is and isn't to each gender. To most women, venting is bonding. It's saying, this happened, and here's how I feel about it. Listen to my feelings, and I will feel less alone. You don't need to do anything except stay present. To most men, venting is a status report on a problem. It's saying, this happened, and it's not resolved. I am bringing this to your attention because I want input or action. If you don't offer a solution, you are not helping. This mismatch is not anyone's fault. It's a cultural and neurological difference that no one explains, so both partners end up feeling unloved. She feels unloved because he won't just listen. He feels unloved because she won't accept his help. The classic fight, a play-by-play. Let's walk through the exact moment things go wrong and how a simple shift changes everything. Scene, kitchen, 7 p.m. She's just off a difficult call with her mother. She says, my mom was so critical again. She asked why we haven't visited more. She made that comment about my weight. I swear, every conversation leaves me exhausted. He hears, I have a problem with my mother. It causes me distress. I need a strategy to reduce this distress. He says, why don't you just call her less? Or when she makes a comment, saying I'm not discussing that, and change the subject. You're an adult. You don't have to take that. She hears, you're handling this wrong. Here's the obvious solution you're too stupid to see. Also, I'm not really listening to how you feel. She says, I don't need you to tell me what to do. I just wanted you to say that sounds hard. He hears, your help is unwelcome. You failed at the thing you were trying to do. Also, that sounds hard is a useless sentence that accomplished nothing. He says, fine. Next time I'll just say nothing. She hears, I'm going to punish you by withdrawing. Now they are both hurt, both confused, both right from their own perspective, and both wrong for assuming the other sees the world the same way. What he wishes you knew about his fixing instinct. 1. When I offer solutions, I am not dismissing your feelings, I am honoring them. In my mind, if something is hurting you, the most loving thing I can do is help you stop the hurt. Solutions are my form of I love you and I hate that you're in pain. 2. I literally don't know how to just listen without offering something. It feels like standing on the shore watching you drown and not throwing a rope. I have to physically restrain myself from fixing. Please be patient with me while I learn. 3. If I stop offering solutions entirely, it won't be because I've learned to listen better. It will be because I've given up. When you reject my solutions enough times, I eventually conclude that nothing I offer is welcome. So I go silent. That silence is not enlightenment. It's defeat. For you can teach me what you need, but you have to teach me kindly. A sarcastic I don't need a fix, thanks feels like mockery. A gentle babe, I just need you to listen right now. Can we save solutions for later, teaches me without shaming me. 5. Sometimes I'm also venting, and you don't notice. When I complain about work or a friend, I'm often just venting too, but you've never asked. You assume I want solutions because that's what I give. Ask me sometimes, do you want me to listen or help? I'd love to be asked. What she wishes he understood, and he needs to hear. Since this book is for women, let's pause and speak directly to the men reading over their partner's shoulder, or to the women who need language to explain this to him. She doesn't need you to fix her life. She needs you to sit in her storm without trying to control the weather. When she vents, she is not weak. She is processing. She is not asking you to carry her burden just to stand next to her while she carries it herself. Your solutions feel like instructions. And instructions, when she hasn't asked for them, feel like criticism. Like you think she hasn't already thought of the obvious answer. The fastest way to make her feel loved is to say 3 words, that sounds hard. That's it. No solution, no advice, just presence. And here's the secret, when you just listen first, really listen, without fixing, she will eventually ask for your solutions. And she will trust them more because you earned the right to offer them. The magic script that saves thousands of arguments. Here is a simple exchange that can prevent 90% of fix-a-feeler fights. Teach it to each other. She asks first, before venting. Do you have space to listen right now, or should I wait? This respects his bandwidth. Sometimes he's too drained to listen well. Asking prevents resentment. He asks first, before responding. Do you want me to listen, or do you want help? This respects her need. It gives her control over what kind of response she receives. She answers honestly, just listen, please, or actually, I'd love your advice. He follows through. If just listen, nod. Say millimeter hum. Say that sounds hard. Say nothing else until she stops talking. Then ask, is there more? Then hug her. If help, then and only then offer solutions. And even then, offer them as questions. Would it help if you, or have you considered, not commands. That's it. That simple script has saved marriages. Try it for 1 week. Practical wisdom, how to stop fighting and start translating. For women who want to receive better listening from their male partner. 1. Teach him explicitly, without anger. On a calm day, say, when I vent about my day, I need you to know that I'm not asking for solutions. I'm asking for you to just say, that sucks, and hold me. Can we practice that? 2. Give him a cue word. Say, when I start venting, I'm going to say, I just need ears as a code for please don't fix yet. Then use it. 3. Thank him when he gets it right. He listens without fixing. Say, thank you for just hearing me. That meant a lot. Positive reinforcement works. 4. Ask for solutions when you actually want them. Don't expect him to read your mind. If you want advice, say, can I get your take on this? He will light up. 5. Vent to women sometimes. This is not a failure of your relationship. It's strategic. Your female friends are wired for the listening you need. Use them. Then come home to your man for what he uniquely offers. For women who also want to support their male partners venting, yes, men vent too. 6. Notice when he vents. He does it differently, shorter sentences, more factual, less emotional. But he still needs to unload. Ask him the same question, do you want me to listen or help? He will be shocked you asked. 7. Don't problem solve for him unless he asks. Treat him the way you want to be treated. Just listen. The deeper truth, why fixing is actually a form of love. Before you decide that his fixing instinct is a flaw to be eradicated, consider this. When a man loves you, your pain becomes his pain. He feels it in his body, and his entire being is organized around one goal: stop the pain of the one I love. Offering a solution is his way of saying, I cannot bear to watch you suffer. Let me carry this for you. Let me build a bridge out of this fire. Is it clumsy? Yes. Does it miss the point sometimes? Absolutely. But is it unloving? No. It is love, just love wearing work boots instead of a soft robe. When you reject his solutions, he doesn't just hear, I don't need your advice. He hears your love isn't welcome here. That's why it hurts him so much. He offered you the best he has, his mind, his competence, his desire to make your life better, and you threw it back. The solution is not for him to stop fixing. The solution is for you to teach him when fixing is needed and when presence is enough. And for him to learn that sometimes the most powerful fix is no fix at all. A final truth. Imagine you're a carpenter. All day, every day, you build things. You're good at it. It's how you show up in the world. Then someone you love says, my house is falling apart. You reach for your tools, and they say, I don't want you to fix it. Just stand here and look at the cracks with me. You would feel useless, frustrated, confused. I have tools, you think. I can help. Why won't you let me help? That's your man when you vent without telling him what you need. He has tools. They are good tools. He wants to use them for you. But he needs to learn that sometimes the tool you need is not a hammer. It's a hand to hold. Teach him, patiently, not in the moment of frustration, but in the quiet between storms. And when he learns, when he sets down his hammer and just sits with you in the rubble, hold that man. Because he didn't stop caring. He just learned to care in your language. And that is the definition of love. Chapter 8, The Threat of the Hysterical Label. Why men shut down during high-emotion arguments, and how to break the chase-withdraw cycle. The argument starts small, something about dishes, or being late, or a tone of voice, normal couple friction. But then it escalates. Her voice rises, tears come. She's not just upset, she's flooded. She wants him to understand. She wants him to feel what she feels. She wants him to engage. And he does the one thing that makes her feel insane. He goes cold. He stops talking. His face goes blank. He looks at her like she's a stranger. He says, I can't do this right now. And he walks away, or worse, he stays but shuts down completely. She follows him. She needs resolution. She needs him to stay in the fire with her until it burns out. He withdraws further. Her intensity feels dangerous. His withdrawal feels like abandonment. She thinks he doesn't care. He's stonewalling me. He's emotionally absent. He thinks I'm going to say something I regret. I need to get out before I explode. Why is she still chasing me? This is the chase-withdraw cycle. It is the single most destructive pattern in heterosexual relationships, and it is almost entirely driven by a neurological mismatch that neither partner understands. The male neurology of conflict, why he shuts down. Let's be very clear about what happens inside a man's body during a high-emotion argument. Stage 1, normal disagreement. He can handle this. Voices are calm. Logic works. He feels present and engaged. Stage 2, emotional escalation. Her voice rises. Tears appear. The emotional intensity spikes. His brain detects something different now. This is not a debate. This is a threat. Stage 3, physiological alarm. His amygdala, the brain's threat detector, lights up. Stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, flood his system. His heart rate spikes. His blood pressure rises. His body is preparing for one of two things, fight or flight. Stage 4, cognitive shutdown. Here's the key. Under extreme emotional pressure, the male brain, conditioned by both biology and socialization, often bypasses the prefrontal cortex, reasoning, empathy, verbal processing, and defaults to survival mode. His ability to access words, to understand nuance, to respond with emotional intelligence, it just goes offline. Stage 5, withdrawal. He cannot fight, that would be yelling back, which has been taught is wrong. So he flees, or if he can't physically leave, he emotionally leaves. His face goes blank. His answers become one word. He dissociates from the argument entirely. This is not a choice. This is a neurological event. It is the male equivalent of a computer crashing under too many open programs. The system doesn't shut down because it's weak. It shuts down because it's overwhelmed. And here's what women don't know: he is usually more terrified than she is. Not of her, but of himself. Of what he might say or do if he stays in that flooded state. Most men have been taught their entire lives that male anger is dangerous. When they feel that anger rising, they withdraw to protect her from themselves. His withdrawal is not abandonment. It is self-control. Why her pursuit makes it worse. Here's where the tragedy deepens. When he withdraws, her attachment system activates. She feels suddenly alone in the conflict. The man who is supposed to be her safe harbor has gone silent. Her brain interprets this as abandonment. And abandonment is terrifying. So she pursues. She follows him into the other room. She raises her voice to be heard over his silence. She asks louder questions. She cries harder. She demands, "Talk to me. Why won't you just talk to me?" Every word she says, every plea, every tear, every escalation, is a spike in his threat detection system. She is not a threat. But his body doesn't know that. His body just knows emotional intensity is rising. Dangerous. Withdraw further. She pursues harder. He withdraws deeper. She feels more abandoned. He feels more flooded. Now they are both in survival mode. Both terrified. Both convinced the other is the enemy. Both blind to the fact that they are locked in a neurological trap. This is not a bad relationship. This is a normal mismatch. And it can be fixed not by one person surrendering, but by both understanding the trap, the hysterical label, why it's toxic and what it misses. Some men, especially those who haven't learned better, label their partner's emotional escalation as hysterical. This word is poison. It dismisses her legitimate feelings as irrational. It positions him as calm and reasonable even when he's just shut down, which is not the same as being reasonable. And it makes her feel crazy. But here's what the hysterical label misses: she's not crazy. She's flooded too. The difference is that women often flood outward, crying, talking, pursuing, while men flood inward, silence, withdrawal, dissociation. Both are signs of overwhelm. Neither is more rational than the other. When he calls her hysterical, he is not seeing her flooding. He is seeing her intensity through his own survival lens, and his lens says, too much. Threat. Escape. When she calls him cold or heartless, she is not seeing his flooding. She is seeing his silence through her own survival lens, and her lens says, abandonment, danger, chase. Both are wrong. Both are scared. Both need the same thing: de-escalation and safety. What he wishes you knew during a fight. 1. When I go quiet, I am not punishing you. I am trying not to destroy you. The anger I feel in that moment scares me. I have seen men lose control. I have been taught that male rage ruins lives. My silence is me choosing safety over explosion. 2. I literally cannot access my words when you are crying and yelling. I want to talk. I want to fix it. But my brain has switched to a different operating system, one that doesn't have a verbal processor. Asking me to talk right now is like asking someone having a seizure to do calculus. 3. I need a timeout, not a week, just 20 minutes. If you let me walk away and cool down, I will come back. I will be able to talk. But if you follow me, my timer resets. Every time you chase, I need more time to feel safe again. 4. I am not saying you're wrong. I am saying I can't fight this way. Your feelings are valid. Your points may be right. But the intensity of the delivery has overwhelmed my capacity to respond. Lower the volume, and I can hear you. 5. I wish I could cry like you do. I do. But my body won't let me. I was trained out of tears decades ago. So my sadness and fear come out as silence or irritation. It's not better. It's just different. Please don't mistake my dry eyes for a lack of feeling. 6. I am afraid you don't respect me when you yell. When you escalate, a voice in my head says, she wouldn't talk to a man she respected this way. That voice may be wrong, but it's loud, and it makes me defensive. What she wishes he understood, and he needs to learn. Since this book is written for women, let me briefly speak to the men reading alongside you. When she cries and pursues, she is not trying to hurt you. She is terrified of losing you. Her loudest moments are her most scared moments. Her escalation is not an attack. It is a desperate bid for connection. She is saying, I can't feel you. Please come back. She just doesn't know how to say it quietly. When you withdraw, you confirm her worst fear, that you don't care. Even though you withdraw because you care, because you don't want to hurt her, she can't see that. She only sees the silence. You both need the same thing, a pause. But she needs a pause with a promise of return. I need 20 minutes, and then I will come back and talk is very different from silent walking away. Learn to say, I love you. I can't talk right now. Give me 30 minutes. I promise I'm not leaving. Those two sentences, I love you and I promise, will save you. Breaking the chase withdrawal cycle, a step-by-step protocol. This works. Both partners must agree to it before the next fight. For him, the withdrawer 1. Recognize the early warning signs. Tight chest, racing heart, urge to escape. The moment you feel these, say, I'm flooding. I need a break. I promise I'll come back. 2. Name a specific time. Not later. Give me 20 minutes. I'll be in the garage. At 7:30, I'll come find you. 3. Use the break to calm down, not to rehearse your defense. Breathe. Walk. Drink water. Do not use the time to build a better argument. That's not a break. That's just a quieter fight. 4. Return when you said you would. This is non-negotiable. Your promise to return is the only thing that makes her able to let you go. If you don't return, she will chase harder next time. 5. Reinitiate with connection, not content. When you return, don't start with here's why you're wrong. Start with I'm back. I love you. Can we try again, slower? For her, the pursuer 1. Recognize the signs of his flooding. Blank face. One-word answers. Body turned away. The moment you see these, stop. He is not being stubborn. He is drowning. 2. Let him go with a promise. Say, I see you're overwhelmed. Go take a break. Come back in 20 minutes. I'll be here. Then let him walk away. Do not follow. Do not call after him. 3. Use the break to calm yourself, not to rehearse your grievances. Breathe. Write down your feelings. Cry if you need to. Do not use the time to build a stronger case against him. 4. When he returns, receive him. Even if you're still angry, especially if you're still angry, say, thank you for coming back. Those words will melt his defenses. 5. Lower the intensity when you restart. Instead of launching back into the full argument, try, can we talk about this more quietly? I don't want to flood you again. Speak slowly. Sit down. Make your body calm, and his will follow. The one thing that changes everything. If you remember nothing else from this chapter, remember this: the opposite of flooding is safety, and safety is created by predictability. When he knows that a break means 20 minutes, not 3 days of silence, he can take the break without fear. When she knows that he will return, not might return, but will return, she can let him go without chasing. The chase-withdraw cycle is not a character flaw. It is a predictable pattern of two scared nervous systems triggering each other. And predictable patterns can be unlearned. Not overnight, but with practice. What to do after the fight is over. Once you've calmed down, hours later or the next day, debrief together. Not to refight, to learn. Ask each other, times, what did I do that helped? Times, what did I do that made it worse? Times, what can we agree on for next time? Then agree on a simple plan. For example, when one of us says pause, we both stop. He gets 20 minutes alone. She waits without chasing. He comes back. We restart at lower volume. If either of us floods again, we pause again. Write it down if you need to. Having a shared plan turns chaos into collaboration. And collaboration is the death of the chase-withdraw cycle. A final truth: the man who goes silent during an argument is not your enemy. He is a man who was never taught how to stay in the fire with you. He was taught to run from fire. And he has been running his whole life, from his own feelings, from conflict, from the terrifying vulnerability of being truly seen. When you chase him, you are not helping him learn to stay. You are confirming that fire is dangerous and that running is wise. But when you let him go calmly, with a promise of return, you teach him something new. You teach him that fire can be survived, that conflict does not mean catastrophe, that your love is not conditional on him staying in a state that feels like drowning. And over time, he will learn to stay longer, to tolerate more heat, to sit with you in the hard moments without fleeing. Not because you chased, because you waited. That is the paradox at the heart of the chase-withdraw cycle. The only way to keep him close is to let him go. Not permanently, just long enough to breathe. Long enough to remember that you are not the enemy. You are the safe harbor he's been running toward all along. He just doesn't know how to stop running yet. Teach him, patiently, quietly, not in the fire, but in the calm after. And one day, when the fire comes again, he will look at you and stay. Chapter 9. What he hears when you say we need to talk. The immediate internal alarm. I've failed. How to start hard conversations without triggering male shame. 4 words. 4 small, innocent words. And the moment they leave your lips, you watch him change. His shoulders tighten. His jaw sets. His eyes go somewhere far away. He says, "About what?" But his voice is already guarded, defensive. You haven't even told him what's wrong, and he's already bracing for impact. You feel frustrated. I just want to talk. Why is he already shutting down? We haven't even started. But here's what you don't know. In the space between your 4th word and his first response, an entire internal drama has already played out inside his head. A drama that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with a lifetime of conditioning. Because to a man, we need to talk does not mean, I value our relationship and want to address something. It means, you have failed. You are about to be criticized. Prepare for impact. And he has been preparing for this moment his entire life. The translation, what he hears versus what you mean. Let's be honest about the gap between intention and interpretation. What you mean. I love you, and I want our relationship to be better. There's something on my mind, and I'd like us to discuss it calmly so we can understand each other. What he hears. I am dissatisfied. You have done something wrong. Get ready to feel shame, defend yourself, or both. There is no good news coming. You might think he's being dramatic, but ask any man to describe how his body reacts to those 4 words. The answers are remarkably consistent. Times stomach drops. Times heart races. Times mouth goes dry. Times thoughts scatter. Times defenses rise. This is not manipulation. This is a conditioned physiological response. He has learned from parents, teachers, bosses, and yes, previous partners, that we need to talk is never followed by good news. It is followed by disappointment, criticism, or bad news. And his body remembers. Why we need to talk is so triggering for men. 3 deep reasons. Reason number 1, the performance fear. As we've discussed, men are wired to see themselves as problem solvers. When you say we need to talk, his first unconscious question is, what did I fail to solve? Because in his mind, if everything were working correctly, there would be no difficult conversation needed. The very need for a talk is evidence that he has fallen short. Reason number 2, the shame spiral. Criticism lands differently on men. For women, criticism can hurt, but it often leads to connection seeking. Let's talk this through. For men, criticism often triggers shame. And shame, for a man, feels like annihilation. It says not you did something wrong but you are wrong, flawed, inadequate, not enough. To avoid that shame, he preemptively defends. Not because he's arrogant, because he's terrified of being revealed as insufficient. Reason number 3, the ambush factor. We need to talk gives him no context, no topic, no clue about severity. His mind races through every possible failure. Did I forget something? Is she leaving me? Did she find out about the money? Is someone sick? What did I do? That uncertainty, that lack of a frame, is agonizing. It feels like walking into a room not knowing if you're about to receive a hug or a punch. The standard opening that backfires. Most women open difficult conversations in ways that make perfect sense to them and guarantee a defensive response from him. Common openings that trigger shutdown. Times we need to talk about something. Times can I ask you something? Times I've been feeling. Times we have to address. Times I'm not happy with. Each of these, from a woman's perspective, is a gentle invitation to connection. From a man's perspective, each is a warning shot. Even worse is the ambush opening, waiting until he's tired, distracted, or about to fall asleep, then saying, I've been thinking about us. His brain, already low on resources, goes straight to DEFCON 1. The result? He becomes defensive, dismissive, or silent. You feel unheard and hurt. The conversation you hoped would bring you closer instead drives a wedge. Neither of you wanted that, but neither of you knew how to start differently. What he wishes you knew about hard conversations. 1. Tell me the topic before you tell me we need to talk. Instead of we need to talk, say I'd like to talk about the budget tonight. Is now a good time? The topic gives my brain a frame. I stop panicking and start thinking. 2. Give me a heads up, not an ambush. A text hours before, hey, can we chat about something after dinner? Nothing terrible, just want to figure something out together. That text changes everything. I have time to prepare, to calm my nervous system, to be ready to hear you. 3. Start with reassurance, not accusation. Before the hard thing, say something true and good. I love you. I'm not going anywhere. I want to talk about something because I want us to be closer, not because I'm angry. That preamble lowers my defenses more than you can imagine. 4. Don't make me guess. If you're upset about something specific, the dishes, a forgotten appointment, a tone of voice, just tell me. Don't make me play guess the failure. I will guess wrong, and we will both get frustrated. 5. I am not your enemy. When you come at me with we need to talk and a serious face, my brain categorizes you as a threat. I don't want to see you that way. Help me see you as my ally by the way you start. 6. I can handle the truth. I cannot handle the build-up. The 10 seconds between we need to talk and the actual topic are worse than any news you could deliver. Just say it, quickly, kindly. Let me stop imagining the worst. The anatomy of a safe opening. Here is a template for starting hard conversations that actually works. It has 5 parts. Part 1. Pick the right time. Not when he's tired, hungry, distracted, or about to leave. Not in public. Not in bed. Ask, is now a good time to talk about something, or should we wait? Part 2. Name the topic in advance. I'd like to talk about how we're dividing household chores. That's it. No judgment. Just the topic. Part 3. Start with connection, not complaint. I love you. I'm bringing this up because I want us to feel like a team, not because I'm blaming you. Part 4. Use I statements, not you accusations. Not you never help with the dishes, but I feel overwhelmed by the dishes lately. Can we figure out a system together? Part 5. Invite collaboration. End your opening with an explicit invitation. Can we talk about this for a few minutes? That question gives him agency, and agency reduces defensiveness. Real-life examples, before and after. Bad opening. We need to talk about your mother. She's driving me crazy, and you never stand up to her. What he hears, you're a failure as a husband. Your family is terrible. This is all your fault. Good opening. Text, hours before. Hey, can we chat tonight about visits with your mom? Nothing urgent. Just want us to be on the same page. Love you. Good opening. In person. I love you. I want to talk about your mom, not to blame you, but because I feel anxious before she visits. Can we figure out how to handle it as a team? See the difference? Same issue. Radically different reception. Bad opening. We need to talk. I feel like you don't even see me anymore. What he hears, you have failed as a partner. I am unhappy. This is your fault. Good opening. Text, hours before. Can we carve out some time tonight? I've been feeling a little distant and I'd love to reconnect. Nothing scary, just miss you. Good opening. In person. I've been feeling a little lonely lately. I know you're not doing anything wrong. I think we're just in a busy season. Can we talk about how to make more time for us? Again, same feeling. Different reception. What to do if he's already defensive. Sometimes, despite your best opening, he's already shut down. Old patterns die hard. Here's what to do. Don't escalate. Say, see, this is why we can't talk, or you're so defensive. That will confirm his fear that he was right to be defensive. Do pause and name what you see. Say gently, I think you just heard that as criticism. I didn't mean it that way. Can I try again? Do offer a do-over. Let me restart. I love you. I'm not angry. I just want to figure out X together. Are you willing to try again with me? Do, if he's too flooded, postpone. You seem really stressed right now. This can wait. Can we pick a time tomorrow? Then let it go. No sigh. No eye roll. Just patience. The man who is defended is a man who is scared. Your job is not to fight through his walls. Your job is to make the walls unnecessary. But one sentence that disarms him. If you take nothing else from this chapter, memorize this sentence. Say it at the beginning of every hard conversation, especially if he already looks defensive. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying there's a problem we need to solve together. That sentence does three things. 1. It separates his identity from the issue. You're not bad. The situation is tricky. 2. It removes shame from the table. This is not a character trial. 3. It invites collaboration. We solve together, not you versus me. Most men have never heard that sentence in their lives. Most have only heard, you did X wrong. Fix it. When you say, I'm not saying you're a bad person, you give him the one thing he desperately needs to stay open, safety from shame. Try it. Watch his shoulders drop. Practical wisdom, a cheat sheet for hard conversations. Do times give advance notice. Can we talk about X tonight? Times name the topic specifically, not us, but the schedule or money. Times start with reassurance, I love you. This isn't an attack. Times use I feel, not you always. Times ask for his perspective first, what do you think about X? Times stay seated and calm. Times thank him for talking, even if it's hard. Don't times start with we need to talk. Times ambush him when he's tired or distracted. Times lead with accusation, you never. Times use silence as a weapon. Times expect him to read your mind. Times escalate if he gets defensive. Times have hard conversations in the car, trapped, or bed, should be safe. A final truth. Here is what men wish they could tell you about we need to talk. Every time you say those words, a small part of me prepares to lose you. I know that's irrational. I know you're not leaving. But somewhere deep inside, a voice says, this is it. She's found you out. You're not enough. She's going to tell you now. I don't want to feel that way. I wish I didn't. But I've been trained by 1,000 small wounds, from parents who criticized, from bosses who fired, from lovers who left. And those wounds live in my body, not my logic. So when you come to me with hard things, please come gently. Not because I'm fragile. Because I want to hear you. I really do. But I can't hear you if I'm busy defending myself against a shame attack you never intended to launch. Help me lower my shield. Not by pretending nothing is wrong, but by telling me, right at the start, that you still love me, that this is a problem we will solve together, that I am not the enemy. Do that, and I will walk through fire with you. But please don't start with we need to talk. Start with I love you, then talk. Chapter 10, The Fear of Not Being Enough. Why men secretly obsess over your past, success, and exes, and how this fear drives jealousy or withdrawal. He doesn't talk about it. He might not even admit it to himself. But late at night, when the house is quiet and his defenses are down, a voice whispers in his ear, what if she's had better? What if she settles for me? What if one day she realizes I'm not enough? You see his confidence. You see him succeed at work, fix things around the house, make decisions without hesitation. You think he's secure. You think he knows his worth. And maybe he does, most of the time. But underneath that competent exterior lies a quiet, persistent fear that he is, at his core, inadequate. Not good enough. Not rich enough. Not strong enough. Not exciting enough. Not man enough. And this fear of not being enough, is the secret engine behind so many male behaviors that women find confusing. Jealousy about exes, discomfort with your success, withdrawal when you're upset, even seemingly unrelated irritability. You can't understand him until you understand this fear. The three faces of not enough. The fear manifests in three specific domains. Each one can trigger jealousy, withdrawal, or defensive behavior. Face number 1, sexual/historical inadequacy. What if her ex was better in bed? What if she's had more exciting experiences than I can give her? What if she thinks about someone else when we're together? This is not about ownership. It's about comparison. He doesn't want to own your past. He wants to be the best chapter. And the fear that he's not, that someone else was more attractive, more skilled, more exciting, can eat at him in ways he'll never admit. You mention an ex's name in passing. He goes quiet. You share a funny story from college. His jaw tightens. You say, I've never told anyone this before. He wonders who else knows. He's not trying to be controlling. He's drowning in a comparison he can never win because he can't go back in time and compete. Phase number 2, professional/economic inadequacy. What if she out-earns me? What if she's more successful? What if she secretly resents providing for me or carrying us? For generations, a man's worth was tied to his ability to provide. That wiring doesn't disappear just because society has changed. Even men who intellectually support their partner's career can still feel a primal sting when she succeeds too much. This doesn't mean he wants you to fail. He wants you to fly. But he also wants to fly with you, not watch from the ground while you soar. When your success outpaces his, the voice whispers, she doesn't need you. What are you even for? That whisper isn't misogyny. It's fear. Fear of irrelevance. Fear of being reduced to a supporting role in his own life. Phase number 3, emotional/relational inadequacy. What if I can't make her happy? What if she cries because of me? What if I'm too broken to love well? Every time you're upset, especially if it's because of something he did or didn't do, he doesn't just hear a complaint. He hears you failed at the most important job. You can't even love her right. This is why he gets defensive when you cry. It's not that he lacks empathy. It's that your tears feel like a verdict. And the verdict is guilty of not being enough. He withdraws not because he doesn't care, but because caring and failing at the same time is unbearable. So he numbs, or deflects, or gets angry, anything to escape the feeling of inadequacy. Why your past haunts him even when he trusts you. Women often say, my past is in the past. Why does he care about people I was with before I even knew him? It's not about trust. It's about imagination. Men are visual, comparative creatures. When you mention an ex, his brain doesn't just hear a name. It builds a movie of someone else touching you, making you laugh, seeing you naked, hearing you moan. And in that movie, the other man is always bigger, stronger, funnier, richer, and better in bed. Is that rational? No. Is it real? Absolutely. This is not a lack of trust in you. It's a lack of security in himself. He doesn't think you'll cheat. He thinks you'll realize, one day, in a quiet moment, that you had better and that is a consolation prize. That fear is irrational, but it's also primal, and shaming him for it will only drive it underground, where it grows stronger. Why your success threatens him even when he's proud of you. Nothing confuses women more than a man who says he supports her career but then acts distant when she gets promoted. Here's the truth, he is proud of you, genuinely. But pride and fear can coexist. His fear comes from two places, the utility fear, if she doesn't need my money, does she need me at all? For a man raised to believe his value is in what he provides, your financial independence can feel like an existential threat. Not because he wants you dependent, but because he doesn't know what his role is if not provider. The status fear, what do her friends say about me now that she's the successful one? Men compare themselves to other men ruthlessly. If you out-earn him, he imagines other men thinking he's less of a man. He imagines you thinking it too, even if you never say a word. Neither of these fears is your fault. Neither is your responsibility to fix, but understanding them helps you respond with compassion instead of contempt when he acts threatened by your wins. The jealousy spectrum, from quiet withdrawal to controlling behavior. The fear of not being enough shows up differently in different men. Mild, most common, he goes quiet when you mention an ex. He seems distracted after you share a work success. He's less affectionate for a day or two. He gets irritable about unrelated things. Moderate, he asks probing questions about your past. He makes small comments about your success, must be nice to have such an easy job. He withdraws physically after you've been out with successful friends. Severe, unhealthy, he accuses you of infidelity without evidence. He tries to limit your career growth. He needs constant reassurance about exes. He monitors your phone or social media. The mild and moderate forms are manageable with understanding and communication. The severe form requires professional help or even separation. Know the difference. This chapter addresses the mild and moderate, the secret fears most good men carry quietly. It does not excuse controlling or abusive behavior. What he wishes you knew about his inadequacy fear. 1. I know it's irrational. I can't help it. I know your past is over. I know your success is good for both of us. I know you love me, but the fear lives in a part of my brain that doesn't answer to logic. Please don't mock me for it. 2. I don't need you to shrink so I can feel big. I don't want you to hide your past or dim your success. That would make me feel worse, not better. I need you to succeed, and then come home and still choose me. 3. Comparisons are poison, even when you don't mean them. When you say my ex used to do this or my friend's husband makes that, you trigger the voice. Even if you're complaining about the ex or friend, just don't compare me to other men. Ever. 4. Reassurance helps, but not constant reassurance. Once a month, unprompted, say something like, "You're the best I've ever had." That will carry me 4 weeks. Asking me, "Are you jealous?" every day will make me crazy. 5. Your desire is the antidote. Nothing silences the not enough voice like you reaching for me, initiating sex, touching my arm, saying I want you. Not I love you, though that helps too, but I want you. Desire says enough louder than love. Practical wisdom, how to calm his fear without feeding it. You cannot cure his fear. Only he can do that work. But you can stop triggering it unnecessarily, and you can offer antidotes. 1. Stop mentioning exes by name. Just stop. My ex is fine if absolutely necessary. But his name? Details about your sex life with him? Funny stories? No. Those are landmines. Even if he asks. Even if he says he's fine with it. He's not. 2. Celebrate your success, but also celebrate his. When you get a promotion, don't just share your news. Ask about his week. Notice his wins. Say we're doing so well, not I'm doing so well. Include him in your success rather than presenting it as your solo victory. 3. Give unprompted reassurance. Once in a while, out of nowhere, say you know you're more than enough for me, right? Or I've never been this happy. No context. No request for reciprocation, just a gift. He will remember it 4 months. 4. Don't shame his jealousy. Translate it. If he goes quiet after you mention a male coworker, don't say you're so insecure. Say you just got quiet. Is the not enough voice talking? Naming it disarms it. He'll be shocked you understand. 5. Choose him visibly. In public. In front of your friends. In front of his friends. A hand on his knee. Of my husband instead of just his name. A look across the room that says you're mine. Visible choosing kills the fear of being second place. 6. Encourage his own competence. Help him find things he's good at, not compared to you, but for himself. A hobby, a skill, a role where he feels like a king. The more places he feels enough, the less your past or success will threaten him. The relationship between his fear and his withdrawal. Here's a connection most women miss. His withdrawal is often a preemptive retreat from the fear of rejection. If he fears he's not enough, he might pull away before you can confirm it. If he doesn't try, he can't fail. If he doesn't initiate sex, he can't be rejected. If he doesn't share his feelings, they can't be used against him. His distance is not a lack of love. It's a protection against the anticipated verdict of not enough. When you see him withdrawing, ask gently, is this about me, or about that voice in your head? Most of the time, it's the voice, and naming it brings him back. When the fear becomes toxic, sometimes the fear of not being enough curdles into something darker, controlling behavior, verbal abuse, or emotional manipulation. Times he monitors your phone. Times he accuses you of flirting with everyone. Times he sulks every time you see friends. Times he belittles your achievements. Times he demands you quit your job or cut off friends. Times he threatens self-harm if you leave. This is not the not enough fear. This is pathology. Get help. Get safe. This book is not for women in abusive relationships. For the rest, for the good men who sometimes feel small and act badly because of it, understanding is the first step toward healing. A final truth. Here is what the man in your life may never say out loud. I am afraid that one day you will wake up and see me clearly. Not the version of me that I perform. The real one. The one who is scared and tired and sometimes mean. The one who doesn't know what he's doing half the time. The one who still feels like a boy pretending to be a man. And I am afraid that when you see him, the real me, you will leave. Not dramatically, quietly. You will just realize you could do better. And you will be right. So I build walls. I deflect. I get jealous. I withdraw. Not because I don't trust you, because I don't trust myself to be worth staying for. But here's what I need you to know underneath all that fear: I would die for you. I would work myself into the ground for you. I would fight the world for you. I just don't know how to fight the voice in my head that says I'm not enough. Stay anyway. Choose me anyway. Even when I'm difficult. Even when I'm quiet. Even when the fear makes me ugly. Stay. And let me learn, slowly, that I am enough. Not because I earned it. Because you decided I was. That decision, your decision to stay, is the only thing that silences the voice. Please, stay. Chapter 11, Appreciation as Fuel. The disproportionate power of genuine praise, and how routine criticism slowly kills his motivation to try. He fixed the leaky faucet. Didn't mention it. Just did it. He worked late 3 nights in a row. Didn't complain. Just did it. He remembered to buy the brand of coffee you like. Didn't make it a thing. Just did it. And you barely noticed. Not because you're unkind. Because his efforts have become background noise. The faucet works now. That's just how it should be. The paycheck arrived. That's just his job. The coffee was there. That's just normal. But here's what you don't know. Every single one of those invisible efforts cost him something. Energy, attention, willpower. The decision to do the thing instead of resting, instead of avoiding it, instead of hoping someone else would handle it. And when those efforts go unnoticed, not criticized, just unseen, a small piece of his motivation dies. Not because he's needy, because he's human. And every human being needs to know that their labor matters. But for men, appreciation is not just nice, it's fuel. The primary fuel. Without it, the engine eventually stops running. The praise to criticism ratio, why men are starving. Psychologists have studied what keeps couples happy. One of the most consistent findings is the praise to criticism ratio. In stable, happy relationships, partners offer at least 5 positive comments for every negative one. In relationships headed for divorce, the ratio drops below 1 positive for every negative. Now consider the average man's daily experience. At work, he receives feedback mostly when something goes wrong. Silence when things go right. Performance reviews highlight areas for improvement. Praise is rare and often generic. Good job, team. At home, he receives requests, reminders, and correct irons. Did you take out the trash? Don't forget to call your mother. You're on your phone too much. Why didn't you? In society, men are told they are privileged, toxic, part of the problem. Their struggles are invisible. Their efforts are expected. Their failures are noticed. By the time he gets to you, his partner, he is already running on fumes. And then he comes home to more requests, more correct irons, more reminders of what he hasn't done. He doesn't need a trophy for every small task. But he needs something. A thank you. Have I noticed? A genuine that was helpful. Without it, he doesn't feel unloved. He feels unseen. And being unseen is worse than being disliked. Because dislike at least means you matter enough to provoke a reaction. Why criticism hits men so hard? Criticism is hard on everyone. But it lands differently on men for 3 reasons. Reason number 1, the shame connection. As we've discussed, men often conflate "you did something wrong" with "you are wrong." A woman might hear "you left the dishes out" and think, "I should put them away." A man often hears "you left the dishes out" and thinks, "I'm a failure as a partner." That's not women's fault, but it's real, and it means routine criticism, even gentle, even well-intentioned, accumulates as shame, not just information. Reason number 2, the effort invisibility. Men often do many small, unacknowledged things. When the only feedback they receive is about what they didn't do, the message becomes, "Nothing I do matters. Only my failures are visible." Reason number 3, the motivation kill. For many men, effort follows appreciation. They try hard because they see it works. When appreciation disappears, the connection between effort and reward is broken. And without that connection, why try? Not out of spite. Out of futility. The appreciation experiment. What happens when you praise him? Try this for 1 week. Every day, find one specific thing he did, small or large, and thank him for it. Not a generic "you're great." Specific, "Thank you for taking out the trash this morning. I noticed, and it helped me start my day without that task hanging over me." What will happen? Times he will likely seem a little surprised. Men rarely receive specific appreciation. Times he may not know how to respond. That's fine. Say it anyway. Times by day 3, you may notice him doing more small helpful things, not because you manipulated him, but because appreciation told him his efforts matter. Times by day 7, the atmosphere in your home may feel noticeably warmer. This is not magic. It's behavioral psychology. What gets rewarded gets repeated. Right now, you may be unintentionally rewarding silence and withdrawal by leaving him alone, and punishing effort by only noticing what's wrong. Flip the script. What he wishes you knew about appreciation. 1. I don't need you to throw me a parade. I need you to see me. A single sentence, I saw you fix that drawer, thank you, is enough. Not a production, just acknowledgement. 2. Your criticism echoes 4 days. Your praise often fades in hours. Because criticism confirms my fears, praise contradicts them. Fear is louder than hope, so I need more praise just to stay even. 3. Thank you is more romantic to me than I love you. I love you is background. Thank you is specific. It tells me you see what I actually do, not just who I am. 4. When you only tell me what I'm doing wrong, I stop trying to do anything right. Not to punish you, because I genuinely start to believe that nothing I do is good enough, so why exhaust myself? 5. I will move mountains for a woman who notices the molehills. Small, consistent appreciation creates a man who wants to do more, not out of obligation, out of love for the woman who finally sees him. 6th, appreciation is not the same as flattery. Flattery is "you're amazing." Appreciation is "thank you for handling that stressful call." One is generic. One is real. I need real. The criticism trap, how even helpful feedback hurts. Most women don't think they criticize too much. They think they are helping or communicating. But from a man's perspective, even well-intentioned feedback can feel like criticism when it's constant. Common not criticism statements that feel like criticism to him. Times next time, could you? Translation, you did it wrong this time. Times I wish you would. Translation, you're not meeting my expectations. Times have you thought about? Translation, your approach is inadequate. Times it would really help me if you. Translation, you're not helping me currently. Times you always, or you never. Translation, you are fundamentally flawed. Even the gentle opening, "Can I give you some feedback?" makes his stomach drop, because feedback, in his experience, is almost never followed by something good. This doesn't mean you should never give feedback. It means you should be strategic and sparing, and you should massively outweigh feedback with appreciation. The 5-to-1 rule in practice. For every piece of corrective feedback, offer 5 specific appreciations. Not, "you forgot to call the plumber again." But first, 5 appreciations. Thanks for making coffee this morning. Thank you for handling bedtime with the kids. I noticed you filled up my gas tank. I appreciate how patient you were with my mom on the phone. Thank you for taking out the trash. Then, "Hey, can you call the plumber tomorrow? I want to get that leak fixed before it gets worse." See the difference? The feedback is the same, but its weight is different because it's surrounded by appreciation. He doesn't feel like a failure. He feels like a partner who has one thing to handle tomorrow. Practical wisdom, how to speak appreciation fluently. 1. Be specific. Not, "Thanks for everything," but, "Thank you for unloading the dishwasher. I was dreading doing it after work." 2. Be timely. Don't save appreciation for a weekly summary. Say it when you notice it. The closer to the action, the more it lands. 3. Notice invisible labor. He changed the air filter. He paid the bills before they were due. He dealt with a difficult customer service call. He remembered to buy milk. These are invisible when done well. Make them visible. For praise effort, not just outcome. Not every attempt succeeds, but if he tried, if he genuinely put in effort, thank him for that. "I know that didn't work out, but I really appreciated you trying." That sentence is gold. 5. Use appreciation as a greeting. Before you say "we need to talk" or "can you help with X," start with appreciation. "Thanks for working so hard this week. Hey, can we talk about the weekend plans?" The appreciation primes him to be open. 6. Appreciate in front of others. Tell a friend, with him present, is so good at handling car stuff. I never have to worry. Public appreciation lands deeper than private. It signals pride, not just politeness. 7. Appreciate who he is, not just what he does. I love how patient you are with the kids. I admire how you handle pressure. You're such a good man. These identity-level appreciations fill a different, deeper tank. What to do when he's already stopped trying? If he's already withdrawn, if he's stopped helping, stopped initiating, stopped caring, you may be in an appreciation deficit. He may believe, deep down, that nothing he does matters to you. Don't criticize him for not trying. That will confirm his belief. Don't dramatically overpraise small things. He'll see it as manipulation. Do start small. Find one genuine thing, no matter how small, and appreciate it. Thank you for putting your cup in the sink. That's it. No, and also, do be patient. It may take weeks of consistent, genuine appreciation before he believes it's real. Trust has been broken not by betrayal, but by neglect. It heals slowly. Do consider saying directly, I realize I've been better at noticing what's wrong than what's right. I'm sorry. I'm going to work on that. I see you, and I appreciate you. That apology alone can be a turning point. The difference between appreciation and transaction. Some women worry, if I thank him for basic responsibilities, won't he expect a reward for everything? He's not a child. Fair concern. Here's the distinction. Transaction, I'll do the dishes if you thank me. Childish. Needy. Appreciation, I did the dishes because I'm an adult. And when you notice and thank me, I feel seen and want to do more. Human. Relational. Appreciation does not create entitlement. It creates motivation. The man who feels appreciated doesn't demand more praise. He feels full, and fullness produces generosity, not greed. The man who feels unappreciated doesn't become humble. He becomes resentful, or he quits trying. The absence of appreciation doesn't teach him to be selfless. It teaches him that his efforts are worthless. So thank him. Not because he's fragile. Because you want a partner who feels energized, not depleted. A final truth. Here is what men wish they could tell you about appreciation. I don't need you to fix me. I don't need you to mother me. I don't need you to manage me. But I do need you to see me. See the way I get up every day and go to a job that isn't my dream because it keeps us safe. See the way I handle the car, the garbage, the yard, the repairs, not because I love them, but because they need to be done and no one else will do them. See the way I hold my tongue when I'm tired, bite back the sharp response, swallow the frustration, because I love you more than I need to be right. I do all of this quietly, not because it's easy, because I was taught that men don't complain, men provide, men protect, men endure, and I can endure almost anything except feeling invisible. When you see me, really see me, and you say thank you in a way that tells me you noticed, I feel like I can do anything. I want to do more. I become the man you already believe I am. Your appreciation doesn't make me weak. It makes me strong, because it tells me that my strength is not wasted. So please, see me, thank me, not every minute, not for every breath, but often enough that I know I'm not alone in this. Often enough that I know my labor, all of it, the visible and the invisible, is love, and that you receive it as love, because it is, it always has been. Chapter 12, He wants to be chosen too. The quiet loneliness of always having to initiate, and why men rarely admit they need to feel desired. He asked you out first. He proposed first. He initiates sex most of the time. He plans date nights. He reaches for your hand. He says I love you first, more often than not. You're used to it. Maybe you've never even thought about it. This is just how relationships work, right? Men pursue. Women are pursued. That's the natural order. But here's what you don't see. Late at night, when you're asleep, he sometimes lies awake and wonders, does she actually want me? Or does she just let me want her? If I stopped initiating everything, would anything happen? Or would we just drift into silence? Does she desire me the way I desire her? Or am I just convenient, safe, familiar? He doesn't ask these questions out loud, because asking them feels pathetic. A man who needs to be wanted is a man who is weak. Or so he was taught. But the questions are there, and the answers, real or imagined, shape his sense of worth, his effort in the relationship, and his secret loneliness. Because here's the truth no one tells you: men need to feel chosen too. Desperately. They just don't know how to ask. The burden of always initiating. Let's be honest about the weight men carry in most relationships. In dating, he approaches. He risks rejection. He plans the first several dates. He texts first most of the time. He proposes. In marriage, he initiates sex the vast majority of the time. He plans most date nights. He reaches for physical affection first. He often says "I love you" first. In conflict, he is expected to apologize first, to break the silence, to make the first move toward reconciliation. In life, he is expected to lead, to decide, to take the first step in everything from career moves to home repairs to parenting decisions. And none of this is necessarily wrong, but it is heavy, because every time he initiates, he risks rejection. Every time he reaches out, he wonders if she will reach back or just passively receive. Imagine never being pursued, never being the one who is grabbed, kissed, pulled into the bedroom, never hearing "I want you" without having to say it first, never having your partner plan something special for you without prompting. That's the quiet loneliness of being a man in most heterosexual relationships. He is the engine, and engines don't get to rest. The rejection accumulation. Women often say no to sex, to dates, to affection, and they are allowed to. No means no. Consent matters. But here's what women don't always realize: every "not tonight," every "I'm tired," every "maybe later" that never comes, it accumulates. Not as data, as wounds. He doesn't keep a scorecard, but his heart does. The first rejection: "She's just tired." No problem. The 10th: "Maybe she's not that into me." The 50th: "She probably doesn't even like me. She just tolerates me." And because he never stops initiating, because if he stops, nothing happens, he keeps putting his hand on the stove, getting burned, and doing it again. Because the alternative, no touch, no sex, no romance, is worse. But each rejection chips away at something fragile: his sense that he is wanted, not just accepted. What being chosen means to a man. Let's be specific. Being chosen is not about ego. It's about feeling elective, like you are not just the default option, but the deliberate preference. Being chosen means you initiate sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. A text that says "I'm thinking about you." A hand that reaches for his first. A plan you made without being asked. Being chosen means you say "I want you" before he says it. Not just "I love you." "I want you." There's a difference. Love is commitment. Want is desire. He needs both. Being chosen means you pull him toward you, physically, emotionally, romantically, instead of always waiting to be pulled. Being chosen means, in public, you touch him first. You compliment him in front of others. You look at him like he's yours. Being chosen means, when he's struggling, you come to him. You don't wait for him to come to you. Being chosen means, he doesn't always have to be the strong one. Sometimes you carry him. Not forever, but sometimes. Why he won't ask for this? If men need to be chosen, why don't they just say so? Reason number 1, it feels unmasculine. Needing reassurance, needing to be pursued, needing to feel desired, these feel like feminine needs. He was taught that men don't need. Men provide. Men endure. Men don't ask to be held. Reason number 2, he's afraid of the answer. If he asks, "Do you really want me?" and you hesitate, or you say, "Of course I do," in a distracted way, he's worse off than before. Not knowing is painful. Knowing he's not truly desired is devastating. Reason number 3, he doesn't have the language. Men aren't taught to name emotional needs. He doesn't know how to say, "I need to feel pursued." He just knows he feels lonely, and he feels ashamed of feeling lonely. Reason number 4, he thinks you should just know. In his ideal world, you would want him spontaneously, not because he asked you to. Asking feels like begging, and begging is humiliating. So he stays quiet. He keeps initiating. He keeps hoping, and sometimes, quietly, he gives up. What happens when he stops feeling chosen? If a man goes too long without feeling desired, several things can happen, none of them good. He withdraws. He stops initiating, not to punish you, because initiating hurts too much. He waits to see if you'll notice. If you do notice and still don't pursue him, the withdrawal deepens. He seeks validation elsewhere. This is not an excuse for infidelity, but an explanation. A man who doesn't feel desired by his partner is vulnerable to anyone who makes him feel seen. A compliment from a coworker, flirtation from a stranger. He may not act on it, but he notices, and he grieves that a stranger sees him more than his partner does. He resents you, quietly, not consciously, but deep down, he feels that you take him for granted, that you assume his desire for you is permanent and unconditional, so you don't have to tend it. Resentment builds silently, and silent resentment is poison. He stops trying to be desirable. Why work out? Why dress nicely? Why be romantic? If no one notices, if no one wants him, why bother? He lets himself go, not from laziness, from futility. He accepts a sexless, passionless relationship. Some men just settle. They stop hoping for desire. They focus on work, kids, hobbies. They tell themselves this is just what marriage is, and they die a little inside every day. None of these are dramatic. None of them look like crisis. They just look like distance. And you might not even notice until one day you realize you're living with a roommate, not a lover. What he wishes you knew about being chosen. 1. I need you to want me, not just love me. Love feels like obligation sometimes. I love you because you're my husband. Want feels like choice. I want you because you're you. Please want me, out loud. 2. When you initiate, you give me permission to rest, just for a moment. I don't have to be the engine. I can be the passenger. I can feel pursued instead of pursuing. That rest is more restorative than sleep. 3. I am terrified that you stay with me out of comfort, not desire. I worry that you love the life we've built, the house, the kids, the routine, more than you love me. That if I stopped being useful, you'd stop wanting me. Prove me wrong. 4. Small initiations mean as much as big ones. A text that says I was just thinking about you. A hand on my leg while you're driving. Pulling me into a kiss when I walk through the door. These take 10 seconds. They last 4 days. 5. When you say no to sex repeatedly without ever saying yes first, I stop feeling like a lover and start feeling like a roommate. Not because sex is everything, because desire is everything, and your desire feels absent. 6. I want to be chosen in front of other people. Touch my arm at a party. Compliment me to your friends. Look at me like I'm the only man in the room. Public choosing tells me you're proud of me, not just tolerating me. 7. If I stopped initiating everything for a month, would you even notice? That question haunts me. Please make sure the answer is yes. Practical wisdom, how to choose him. None of these require grand gestures. Most take less than a minute, but they will change how he feels in the relationship. 1. Initiate sex sometimes. Not I guess so when he initiates. You start it. Pull him into the bedroom. Send a suggestive text. Say I want you tonight. Even once a month. He will remember it 4 weeks. 2. Reach for him first. His hand. His face. His body. Don't wait for him to touch you. Touch him. Not as a prelude to sex, just as a statement. You are mine and I want my hands on you. 3. Plan something for him. A date. A weekend away. A night where he doesn't have to decide anything. Tell him I planned this because I wanted to be with you. The planning is the choosing. 4. Text him randomly. Thinking about you. You looked hot this morning. Can't wait to see you tonight. No request. No question. Just desire, delivered. 5. Compliment him specifically in front of others. At a dinner with friends, he's so good at handling stress. I'm lucky. To your mom, he's an amazing dad. I chose well. He will hear those words for years. 6. When he walks through the door, light up. Stop what you're doing. Look at him. Smile. Say, hey, you. That 3-second greeting tells him he's not just a paycheck or a co-parent. He's welcome. 7. Say, I want you, not just I love you. Both matter, but I want you is desire. Desire is choice. Choice is what he's starving for. 8. Don't always make him be the strong one. Ask him how he's doing. Really? And when he says, fine, don't accept it. Say no, how are you really? And then listen. Let him be the one who is held for a while. 9. Initiate physical affection without expecting sex. A long hug. A back scratch, playing with his hair, These tell him you want to touch him, not because you want something, but because you want him. 10. If you've been rejecting him often, initiate a conversation. Say, I know I've said no a lot. I want you to know it's not about you, but I also want to fix this. Help me understand what you need. That conversation alone will feel like a gift. The one question that changes everything. Ask him this question. Not in bed, not after a fight, on a normal afternoon. When was the last time you felt truly desired by me? His answer may break your heart. He may say, I don't know. He may say never. He may cry. He may get defensive. Whatever his answer, don't argue. Don't defend. Just listen. And then say, I'm sorry. I want you to feel desired. Will you help me learn how? Those two sentences, apology and invitation, can rebuild what years of passive acceptance have eroded. A final truth. Here is what men wish they could tell you about being chosen. I have spent my entire life being the one who reaches, the one who asks, the one who risks. I do it because I love you, but I am tired. Not tired of you. Tired of always being the engine. Tired of wondering if you would ever reach for me if I stopped reaching first. Tired of feeling like your desire for me is a response instead of a spark. I want to feel like you would chase me, like you would miss me, like you would fight for me, not because I'm leaving, but because I need to know that I'm not just here, that I'm not just the safe, reliable, convenient option. I want to feel chosen, not as a husband, not as a father, not as a provider, as a man, as me, the man you saw across the room once, before we had history, before we had bills and routines and the quiet exhaustion of long-term love. The man you wanted. I know we can't go back to the beginning. I'm not asking for that. But once in a while, a text, a touch, a look, could you remind me that you still see that man, that you still want him? Because I am still here, beneath the fatigue and the responsibility and the performance. I am still the man who wanted to be chosen by you. Please, choose me again, and again, and again.